Stand by to launch FanStream Sports.
3, 2, 1.
Let's start.
Hello, sports fans. Welcome to FanStream Sports. Nothing but pure sports. This is the JP Show.
JP, it is so good to hear you back on the air.
Stand by. Now, here's JP.
All right, welcome into a Tuesday edition of the JP Peterson Show. I'm JP Peterson. Tim Ham, IndyCar Tim, is joining me here this morning from our Dallas affiliate, DSP Network. Good morning to you, Tim. How are you?
Good morning, JP. Good morning, Tampa Bay. I don't get to say that too often, you know?
Yeah. Are you okay? Is that folks in Dallas okay after that ass whooping?
You know what? I'm okay. I'm okay because it wasn't a shock to me, but I tell you, they had to paint the windows shut on some of the sky rises down in downtown Dallas for fear of people jumping after Monday night's debacle.
Yeah, I just
or Sunday.
None of that shocked me, to be quite honest with you. So, but you know, I guess after what Dallas did to the Buccaneers in the playoffs last year, we can't really talk a whole lot of shit. But that being said, you know, I think a lot of people thought that this was going to be a big year for Dallas. I thought. Clearly, the injury to Diggs has not helped that defense but Dak Prescott is just not the guy. I think even you're a big Cowboys fan, as you were saying, but you know Dak's not the guy.
Yeah, and I was a huge Dak supporter. I was one of the guys a couple of years ago saying to Jerry, pay the guy, just when they had the whole holdout situation. I'm like, there's nobody in the league I'd rather have than Dak right now. But as we discussed, JP, that horrendous ankle injury that he suffered. And then the following year, when he came back from that, he suffered a calf injury against the Patriots in an overtime win up in New England. And he's really never been the same. He doesn't look like the same quarterback. He doesn't throw the same. And it's almost ugly to watch sometimes. And I want Dak to be the guy. Again, I'm a Cowboys fan. I want him to be the guy. As a person, I think there's nobody better. I mean, the guy, for the things that he stands for, he's been through in his life, dude. He is a great dude. I've had the pleasure of talking to him.
He's dating a Tampa girl right now.
Yeah,
my friend's daughter. He's dating. So, you know, he's got fans in Tampa. That's for sure. Yeah. Good dude, great dude, but and not a terrible quarterback. Just needs a better team around him. He's not one of those transcendent elite guys, but he's in the second tier. You know, at the top of the second tier, he could get the job done. I think he could win a Super Bowl if the defense stayed intact and he had a good running game around him. All those things. Right. But you know, and maybe there comes a time when, you know, this next contract, he goes from 40 million to 25 million, like Brady, and says, you know what, I'll be part of the team, not the focus of the team.
Right. And he's got to be a support player, a role player.
Exactly.
He can't be the guy because he doesn't, for whatever reason.
And that's okay.
That's fine. You don't look at all the guys that won Super Bowls that were role players. You know, I mean, good God, you had one in Tampa Bay, right? And Brad Johnson. I love Brad Johnson.
Don't tell Brad that.
Dude.
No, Brad would be the first one to say he was a really good quarterback. He wasn't a superstar, but he was perfect for that team. The Bulls.
A fan of the Johnson family, right there.
Oh yeah. Oh, I'm so happy for Max and Jake and good dudes, man.
Absolutely.
Really, really like talk about salt of the earth people. Just the best of the best. Brad.
By the way, Brad was my fantasy football quarterback for a number of years when he was in Tampa Bay. So he won me some games, man.
Oh, when he was in Minnesota, they put up big numbers. Huge numbers with Randy Moss and Chris Carter. Oh, my God. Yeah. But we digress because we got a lot to get to today on the show. As you see, Lightning gear is on today. I'll be headed over to Amalie Arena to do my thing on opening night. Big boy concert out on the on Ford Thunder Alley. Starts, I think, at 2:30, 3 o'clock. The player walk is at 2:30 on the blue carpet. Big boy at 3. And then all the festivities. Get there early, folks. I remember 5:30 puck drop because we're the first game on ESPN triple header. So 5:30 puck drop. We'll see if Lightning fans, unlike their brethren in St. Petersburg, can fill it up on an early start for opening night. Not a playoff game, but opening night. Big wing. It'll be packed. It'll be freaking packed because the Lightning respect their fans. They've got an owner that is loved. They know where to locate their stadium, and they know how to win in the postseason. Unlike the Tampa Bay Rays, who are clueless on all of those fronts. And I think Rays fans are really, really frustrated. I'm going to get into the Rays here in just a second because of some of the stuff that Eric Neander said today or yesterday in their exit press conference. As you guys sit there in Texas with your Rangers who beat the shit out of us, was that a surprise to you? Were you a little worried about going into Tampa? Because I think they've won 2 series here.
Yeah, I wasn't worried about Tampa necessarily. I was worried when we won the game 1. I think it was 3-2.
4-0.
4-0. I'm sorry. I'm thinking of the Orioles series already. When we won that first game, I keep saying we, and I hate when people do that because I don't work for the team. But when they won that first game, my confidence level just skyrocketed because I knew going into the series, Tampa was playing better. The Rangers were sort of slumping. They'd given the division away to the Astros on the last day of the season with a tied record, by the way, 90-72, but they won the head-to-head. So, but once that first 4-0 game was done, I was like, okay, it's on to whoever, because I wasn't worried at all.
Yeah. They just seemed more seasoned, the Rays seemed jumpy and inexperienced and they've been to the postseason, but not a lot of those guys that were playing had been to the postseason or done anything of note in the postseason. By the way, a couple other notes here on programming as we set up the show before I get into the Rays. Scott Reynolds coming up at 10:30, Pewter Report. Normal Tuesday hit as we look forward to Creamsicle Week and the Lions. TJ Reeves, Bucks sideline guy, will join us. We'll talk Bucks, but he loves talking Rays and Lightning and everything else, all things Tampa Bay sports. Kasey Hudson, who covers the Bolts, will join us at 11:30, so we got a great show coming your way. Bolts, Bucks covered, but I want to jump into the Rays here early on. And, Tim, the Rangers don't have a lot of big-time veteran players that have done a lot, but more so than the Rays, right? Montgomery's been around. He looked great on the mound. Looked like a seasoned vet, went out there, did what he at Nate Eovaldi, postseason experience. He's been around. He went out and did his thing. And even the young, Evan Carter and some of the young Ranger hitters didn't seem to be phased, but they had older players as well. A lot of guys that have been around for a while. I think that makes a difference. And then, here's this quote from Eric Neander. He says, I think this postseason, the way those 2 games played out, with the expectation, this group went from, man, we're ever going to be able to have a representative team on the field the way we envisioned it, to, oh my gosh, this team has arguably the best bullpen in the postseason. Okay. 2 starters we had, Tyler Glasnow and Zach Eflin. A batting champ in Yandy Diaz. Okay. Harold Ramirez would have been 3rd in batting, but he's not because he's more a platoon guy. He said, of a team that got to a spot of being really well equipped for a deep postseason run. Does that roster that they put in, does that look like a team that was ready for a deep postseason run? Like the general manager thinks that roster was ready for a deep postseason run? You got Curtis Mead starting at second base. No, they did not have the horses. Where's the big bopper in the middle of the lineup? Isaac Paredes had some good numbers, but you just didn't have the experienced star players that are going to do it in the postseason. I think that's when the GM thinks that roster is ready for a postseason run, you're in trouble. You're in trouble. There's no stars on that roster. Randy Arozarena is the only one who's really done anything in the postseason. Yeah, it's nice to have a batting champion, but is Yandy Diaz going to power you to a World Series title? No. I just, and in those, Tyler Glasnow and Zach Eflin. Glasnow has never been good in the playoffs. And not that he pitched horrible. He didn't get any help, 4 errors, but still he was, he had control issues. He walked 5 guys. And Zach Eflin, he's a good pitcher. He's not a postseason stopper, right? So my GM is telling me, thinks that roster is good enough for a postseason run, a deep postseason run. I got to go, what are you looking at? That's
they just looked like a young team that was overmatched to me. And to be overmatched by a team like the Rangers right now, that's saying something.
Yeah.
They really the best thing the Rangers had going for them this season is that manager and Bruce Bochy. And when that hire was made, JP, there's a ton of Rangers fans in the DFW area and around the country that were just like, finally, we've got a skipper that's got some skins on the walls, that knows what he's doing. He's been there. He knows how to manage. And nothing against the managers we've had, going back to, good God, how about Bobby Valentine? Let's go back that far if you want. Yeah. The Rangers have just never had somebody that I thought, and I've been a baseball fan my whole life, that I thought could put them over the hump themselves as a manager. And I think that the Rangers have an advantage with Bruce Bochy as manager right now, and it's showing. I think it's great.
I mean, Kevin Cash, I don't have a huge problem with Kevin Cash. I think a lot of the stuff that is done there is organizational decisions and not necessarily specific to him, because that's how the Rays do business. Starting Siri in center field, who hadn't played in 3 weeks, I thought was not a great decision. And he made a couple of plays that really cost you. 3 plays in general. So I thought that was that his decision, or was that organizational, righty versus lefty, as opposed to a guy who hadn't played in 3 weeks? You look at the stats, righty versus lefty, numbers, matchup numbers. That's all great, but those stats don't tell me that he hadn't played in 3 weeks. Yeah. And that's not, normally there would be a couple of games to get ready in the minor leagues. He wasn't afforded that, didn't have that time because of where it happened in the season. I just wouldn't have played him. Taking Glasnow out in the 5th instead of the 6th, you were already down and you didn't score a damn run. To me, you're just overmatched offensively. But I said it a month before the postseason. I said they don't have the horses. They're not doing anything in this postseason. They don't just we saw what happened in last year's postseason. When you don't have the big star horses in terms of hitters, your chances of moving on, you got to score runs, man. You got to score some runs. Just can't give no runs in 33 2/3 innings, a third of an out away from a record. 2 runs, 1 run in 44 innings, 2 runs in the last postseason in 4 games? No. And if your GM sitting there thinking, yeah, we're good, you didn't go sign a bat in the offseason last year. You didn't sign a bat at the trade deadline thinking that you're okay. Well, those decisions turned out to be wrong. And there's a lot of decisions that they've made over the past couple of years that have turned out to be wrong. And now I'm reading an article by Mark Topkin today telling me that the Rays are going to spend $120 million on payroll this year. And it's just coming here. They have a new philosophy.
Wow. Break open the checkbook.
So they're going to spend, a team that's never broken $80 million for an opening day payroll is today. This year is going to spend $40 million more in their opening payroll next year.
Wow.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's going to happen. Yeah, and he's going to pay for the whole stadium in Tampa too. Yeah. Never going to freaking happen. Never going to. Tyler Glasnow is set to make $25 million. If he's on the opening day roster, I will walk to Dallas and serve you breakfast, Tim. Because that ain't freaking happening.
I won't make you walk, but I'll take breakfast.
That ain't freaking happening.
Wow.
So, yeah, there's no chance in hell that this team under Stu Sternberg is going to have $120 million payroll. Oh, well, the attendance was up 27% last year. So what makes you think he's going to put that money back into the team? The guy that took $500 million out of the team, according to the lawsuit, right. And he's going to suddenly put the money back into the team when he's set to build a new stadium and has some actual expenditures when it comes to stadium that he's never had before. Come on. I mean, who's believing this? No, it's going to be the same old. Listen to the GM. He thinks that was a good playoff roster. Really? You think, oh, well, that test tells me. And he also says in here that Stu has always given him the flexibility. And you mentioned, they signed Charlie Morton to a 2-year, $30 million contract. So what? What you don't mention in this article, by the way, Mr. Topkin, is they turned down a player option for $15 million for a starting pitcher with great playoff success in this league for $15 million. You let Charlie Morton walk. And we went and won a World Series with the Atlanta Braves as a key part. You mentioned that they signed him, but you don't mention the fact that they turned down the team option for $15 million. Come on, man.
Wow.
I mean, and then of course there's always this. They were reported $150 million 6-year offer in spring for Freddie Freeman. I don't want to hear any of that stuff. And I heard they were in on Shohei Ohtani. You never pulled the trigger on any of it. So I don't care who you're feeding all these sources, national sources, things that you were kind of in, but they never happen. You never end up spending the money. So I don't believe any of it. I don't believe a damn bit of it. I'm not going to give you credit for giving an offer to Freddie Freeman that he didn't take because he didn't want to play at the Trop or it wasn't really a legitimate offer.
Right.
So you're not getting credit for that. And of course, everybody's, look at the $172 million on Wander Franco. He made $1 million 2 years ago. He made $2 million this year. When they get to the big money on Wander Franco, let me know if he ever comes back. So this idea that they're going to somehow spend $120 million on payroll, and on what? you still don't have a big hitter in the lineup. Where's that coming from? Go out. If you want to be serious about this, go out, get some experienced hitters, get a Carlos Correa like Minnesota did. Did they overpay him for the back end of that contract? I don't know. We'll see. Looking pretty good for Minnesota right now. Go get a Kyle Schwarber. The numbers aren't great, but you know what he does? He hits in the postseason. He gets big hits in the postseason. But you don't want to pay the money. You never have. You never will. Not under this ownership group. So I'm tired. Here I am again, frustrated talking about this, but I see these things out there and I'm like, what are we talking about here? Well, who's like the GM thinks that that's a good roster, that was ready for a deep run? Really? You're starting Curtis Mead at second base, and you're thinking this roster is going to get ready for a deep run? You got 2 starting pitchers and one, none of them that have done anything really in the playoffs. They've had bad playoff numbers. So I don't. When I look at the Rays today, I see a team that is only interested in making money. That's all they've ever wanted to do is play meaningful games in September so they can still sell tickets through September. And if anything happens in the postseason after that, good. But they're not making any large-scale commitments on any great players. And until they do, I'm going to keep saying this. I'm going to keep saying it. So,
because it seems to me, JP, that a baseball team, that's sort of a turning point when they start paying attention to their roster in terms of getting guys with postseason experience and guys that are proven in the postseason. That's what happened for the Rangers under Chris Young, or the new GM, Chris Young. Great MLB player. He was in the front office for a long time. They went out and got him, and he's got relationships with everybody. Brings in Corey Seager, brings in Bruce Bochy, brings in Marcus Semien. And it seems like when you start paying attention to those guys that are successful in the postseason, that's kind of what puts your organization over the top.
Yeah.
And that's what's happened for the Rangers. And I don't see that in Tampa right now because you can't, with a $80 million salary, you can't afford those guys.
Exactly. And everybody will say, oh, Correa hadn't done ass ever. Well, you know what? He was just 3 for 3 the other night and won him a postseason ball game. That's what we're talking about. Mm-hmm. Yeah, over the long term, you can crunch all. And this is what Rays fans love to do. Well, all these crazy analytics. Well, this guy's spin rate, blah, 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 blah. We've got 17 guys in the minors that do spin rates, blah, 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 blah. I don't give a shit. Give me somebody who's proven that could take the ball in a big situation and shut somebody down or hit a couple of go 3 for 3 with 3 RBIs and win a postseason game.
Yeah.
I don't give a shit what they're doing during the regular season, to be quite honest, because now lots of teams get into the playoffs, get in the dance, and let's see what you do in the postseason. So, and there are no guarantees. It's baseball. Look, the Dodgers spent a crap ton of money. They've won one World Series, and they're down 0-2 to the Diamondbacks. I get it. There are no guarantees in this league, but at least they're trying, and they're there every year, and they're spending the money that the fans put into the team on the team. Okay, I'm not asking the Rays to spend $300 million. I'm not asking them to spend $200 million. I'm not even asking them to spend $150. If you get over 100, I'd be happy. Okay, so don't sit there and go, well, we can't keep up. I'm not asking you to keep up with the other ones. I'm asking you not to be in the bottom 5 of the payroll every freaking year. But if you combined your smarts and a little bit of money and support from the owner, you might get something. You might just get there. But you haven't done it, and you won't do it until this guy sells the team. So anyway, let's move on again to the team that knows how to win in the postseason, knows how to treat their fans, knows where to locate their stadium. That would be the Tampa Bay Lightning. The roster is set. There'll be a little bit of things going on with Barboulet. Probably will be put on waivers today. Looks like Johan Johansson will be the guy in net. Vasilevsky out for 2.5 months, 2 months. So we start the season tonight with a lot of new faces, and going to be some interesting new faces out there. We talked a lot about this with Eric Erlinson yesterday, the Tyler Motts of the world, Glenn Denning, and all the old favorites are back. And Anthony Cirelli is going to be a guy that's counted on a lot more. He'll be taking over Kolarin's spot on the power play. It'd be interesting to see how that goes tonight against the Predators. But you still have the great core, man. You got Kucherov for my money, is the best playmaker in the game. I still believe that. You've got Steven Stamkos that still has one hell of a shot and maybe a little bit ticked off that he hasn't had an extension. So maybe a contract year for him. He wants to go out and prove some stuff. Victor Hedman is still one of the top 4 defensemen in the league for my money, all time. And here's the thing, Tim, all these guys are rested. Mm-hmm. They've had a full offseason for the first time in 5 seasons. Mm-hmm. And that's going to make a difference. We saw it a little bit with the jump that they had in preseason. Yes, Vasilevsky's going to be out for a couple of months, but I think that could be a blessing in disguise because now these guys have got to focus on being better in front of their net and keeping other teams from the constant 2-on-1s and 3-on-2s that we've seen over, certainly last year. They've got to be better defensively, and this is going to force them to do so. They put in a new defensive system. That might take a little time to get used to, but again, Cirelli, Point, Stamkos, Kucherov, Hedman, Sergachev, Chernak. I mean, they've got really, really, really good players, and they've added a couple of really nice pieces as well. I'm excited. I'm excited to see what this team can do. They start tonight against Nashville, 5:30 puck drop. I think there's going to be a renewed sense of energy, certainly, not only from a physical sense, but an emotional sense. I think they're hungry again. And I love the fact that a lot of teams are doubting them, especially now with Vasi down. Everybody's counting them out. So I like this Lightning team has a real kind of Buccaneers post Tom Brady feel to me. They have a little bit of a chip on their shoulder. They still have championship pedigree. They still have a good core. They've added some nice pieces. So I'm excited. I'm excited to see what happens tonight and then the first couple months of the season without Vasi.
Man, I'm excited for hockey season. The Dallas Stars are so much of an up and down organization. I gotta say it right here. We're talking about hockey.
That's right.
That you really never know what to expect. I'm not the biggest fan of Pete DeBoer, the head coach. He's had success everywhere he's been, but it was early success, and then his message, I think, got old or whatever the reason, and the teams have faded. So I don't have huge hopes. I think we've got a good roster here in Dallas. And I always pay attention to the Lightning and the Stars matchups, of course, because it's maybe one of my favorite Eastern Conference teams, aside from my Montreal Canadiens, as I spent some time up there as a kid. They were my first hockey love. But, it's the way the Cowboys are playing right now. It's hockey season for me. It's still baseball season, and it's hockey season starting for the Stars starting on Thursday.
Yeah, and this is what I love about hockey season, especially here in Tampa Bay, is the Lightning fan base. The Lightning fan base will pack that place tonight. It will be loud. It will be fun. We've got a lot of extra stuff planned for the fans tonight. And this is what, Jeff Vinik does, man. The game experience is so important to him. I mean, you go to a Rays game and look what they put into the game experience. Not much. The Bucks and the Lightning especially. They add they spend money doing it. Like I could sit here and tell you about the $3 million sound system that Mr. Vinik put in. These aren't things that he's forced to do. He's like, you know what? We really need to do this to upgrade the stadium for it to be a state of the art with the rest of the teams. We need to put in this particular light system. We're going to do this we're bringing in Big Boy for a free concert. Not, you don't have to pay for it. It's a free concert out on Ford Thunder Alley. Constantly doing things for STMs. It's nonstop. There's a level of respect for the fans. And that's why, there's probably about 2% of people over the age of 40 that have even touched a hockey stick growing up in this market. But yet there's 350 consecutive sellouts here because of how they've treated the fans and how this organization has been run over the past 10 to 15 years since Jeffrey Vinik brought this franchise. So it's great to see. It's a celebration of what can be when you do it the right way. When the owner is beloved, when the location is great, when the team is good, when you keep the players around that fans love, when you keep your core together and you spend the money to do that and create an atmosphere where players want to come there and play and fans want to be part of it. It ain't cheap. You got to go the extra mile. You got to do the extra things. And fans, especially in Tampa Bay, will react to that. And if you don't do it, they won't. So when you bitch and moan about people not showing up to a playoff game, look in the freaking mirror. Look in the mirror because the fans have been packing Raymond James Stadium as well. Mm-hmm. When you do it the right way, when the Glazers started doing it the right way again, post-Man United, the fans reacted. The fans were there, and the fans are there now, even after Tom Brady is gone. So it's more about how you do things as an ownership group, and frankly, I can't wait to get back in there tonight and be part of a franchise that does it the right way. I'm going to get to a couple comments here this morning. Thank you guys for jumping in. Bruce doesn't look at a computer to make common sense decisions. That's the difference. Speaking
Bruce
of
Bochy,
yeah. How much do you get a sense that the Rangers are into the analytics, and how much does Bochy run the joint?
I get the feeling that he might not even know what the word analytics means, to be quite honest with you. He's been in baseball so long and he's so old school that he just, I'm sure there's a certain part of it, that he pays attention to. He's got guys in his ear telling him what to do and what things mean. But man, I just get the feeling it's Bruce Bochy, and it's his gut. It's his baseball gut. And this goes back to who we called the old school brother, Ron Washington. Yeah. When he was the manager and the Rangers' only 2 World Series appearances, he was anti, and it's weird because he came from the Oakland organization.
Yeah.
But he was anti-analytics, and he says, man, I got a baseball gut.
Yeah.
And, this is what I do.
Why you hire a guy like Bruce Bochy?
Yeah.
Don't hire a guy like Bruce Bochy and then force feed him analytics like the Angels did to Joe Madden.
Yes.
I mean, why hire the guy if that's what you're going to do? Yeah. Stupid. Kevin says there is definitely a chance Glasnow is on the roster opening day. He could be traded midseason. Okay. So you think the Rays are going to keep him on the roster with a chance of him getting injured, which is 90%, and then not being able to ever trade him? Okay, Kev, we got a 6-pack on that one. Okay, we got a 6-pack. If Glasnow is on the opening day roster, I owe you a 6-pack of your choice. So I'll see you in April. And I do like Copper. Any of the Copperhead ones are very Coppertail, really good beers. I'll take a Cigar City too. If Rays get World Series and they need to spend some money, yes, that's how it works. Look around. The numbers tell you that. James Flash Ludeman, good morning to you, my friend. They never pulled the trigger ever. Pat Burrell was the last time they did anything splash-wise, and it was a failure. Yeah, maybe that. You can put Nolan Cruz in there, although, that was $4 million for the second half of the season. And you gave up a great pitcher and Joe Ryan to get him, so that was a fail. Wrong. James said Mike Topkin is so in the tank, you should be ashamed. I don't want to bash on the man, but if you're going to do a story and try to tell everybody, feed this false narrative of how much money the Rays are going to spend, and then you mention Charlie Morton, but you don't mention the fact that they didn't pick up the $15 million team option. Why did you do that? That seems like a choice of it's agenda reporting. Just put it out there and let people make the decision. Why wouldn't you add that critical piece of information into the story? I mean, come on. I'm not trying to be a jerk here, Mark, but am I wrong? How is that not part of the story? Sorry.
I love Soapbox JP.
Thank you. Also, letting Morton walk was disappointing, but Evaldi walking may have been worse. Yeah, he was once a Ray. But once these guys, they rehab him, but once they get to $8, $9, $10 million a year as a pitcher, we're going to go get a young guy, and, chances are he'll be a little bit worse, but we'll make money off him. The Rays are the Dallas Mavs of baseball. Great regular seasons, no playoff success. Your thoughts, Tim?
Hey, we got a ring in 2011, okay? And that's probably the last time I paid attention to the NBA, because to me it's an unwatchable product right now. But I get it. I was a fan of the Mavericks in their 13-win seasons in the 90s when they had Jason Kidd, Jim Jackson, and Jamal Mashburn fighting over Tony Braxton.
Yeah. that was something to pay attention to.
It was.
James, reiterating what we've said. I really wish the owner of the Lightning could just buy all 3 Tampa Bay franchises. Don't we all? It's one on the Lightning that'll be based on Braden Point. Yeah, 51 goals last year. Yeah, he's been fantastic. He backs that season up, and maybe he'll finally get some national recognition. No way Stu pays Glasnow. You're right. Okay, let's take our first break, Timmy. When we come back, we will be visited by our good friend Scott Reynolds at the Pewter Report as we get ready for Creamsicle Week here. The Lions are coming to town. This should be one whale of a football game, 425 at Raymond James Stadium. I'll be there. We will chat with Scott about that. I want to remind you folks that we are presented by the Jeeves Law Group, Jeeves lawgroup.com. You see it right there on your screen. And Bay Area Modern Medical Center, if you're looking to lose weight, get your testosterone right, get your immune system up, just get in better health. It's Bay Area Modern Medical Center. Chris Lugo will join us as he does each and every week at some point this week, and we'll talk some great medical stuff and how to keep you guys healthy. Scott Reynolds coming up next. Stay with us. Coins sitting around the house? Well, the Golden Diamond Source will purchase a variety of different types of coins and bullion. Their gold buying program includes sterling silver, silver, platinum, and watches. They also accept unusual pieces that other jewelry stores do not, such as gold bars and sterling silver flatware. The list of items they do accept is far more extensive than those they don't, so check it out. While you're there, you can check out the largest collection of any family-owned jewelry store in the country, especially with summer coming to an end. The holidays are right around the corner. Never too early to start your holiday shopping, especially if you're planning on getting engaged or have any birthdays or anniversaries coming up. Come on in and find out what buying jewelry should be like with an expert staff of gold and diamond jewelry enthusiasts. And the best part, they treat you like family. And if you're worrying about price, don't. The Golden Diamond Source has something for everyone's budget. They even have a layaway. If you stop in and get your favorite piece now, you can have it paid off by Christmas. Plus, you can even finance your purchase with 0% interest for up to 5 years, and you can get a $5,000 diamond for only $83 a month. It's the greatest folks in the world, Julie and Steve Weintraub, the Golden Diamond Source, 3800 Olmerton Road, always online at thegoldendiamondsource.com. JP here for my good friends at Italiano Insurance, and they did it again. Once again, Italiano Insurance stepping up with the best customer service. I was in a bind. My old insurance company, my auto insurance, jacked up my rates, so I called Charity at Italiano Insurance, and she stayed till 9:30 at night until she got my insurance done. And guess what? She searched all these companies for me. I didn't do the work. She did. Saved me $1,000 on my annual premium. $1,000, folks. That's real money. And that's what you get at Italiano Insurance. Great customer service. And here's another note for you, by the way, with hurricane season up. 40% of people in Florida are underinsured. That means if you have something happen during a hurricane and you need replacement costs, you're going to get 40% less than you deserve. Can't let that happen. Call the folks at Italiano Insurance and get them to help you out in both those regards. They will save you money and keep you insured properly. That's 813-877-7799. Great folks in the community, been doing it for over 60 years. Italiano Insurance, 813-877-7799. All right. Well, Fitz the mortgage guy did it again. A listener heard his ad, was going to another big bank, but called Scott Fitzgerald at American Mortgage Services of Tampa, and Fitz saved him $618 on his monthly payment. Are you kidding me? Folks, that's big money. Rates are going up, they're going down, they're going all over the place. Scott will shop your loan and save you lender fees and get the best rates. Email him, scott@amstampa.com, or call 813-294-7595. That's Fitz the mortgage guy. Lots of stuff going on right now, and these rates are going all over the place. You need somebody knowledgeable in the market that will work hard for you and get you the best deal. That's my man, Scott. He's done 3 loans for me, done thousands of loans for local folks here, works with a lot of the coaches and players in the area. He's the guy. 813-294-7595, or go to scott@amstampa.com.
Let's go. Right now, back to the show with JP on FanStream Sports.
Man, a weekend without the NFL and the Bucks, just it's hard, man. I just don't know. Throws the whole rhythm off of my week. My show is just weird. So
a little bit.
Yeah, good to have the Bucks back this week in a big game. It is against the Lions. Let's welcome in our good friend Scott Reynolds from the Pewter Report. What's up, my friend? How are you?
Doing good.
Feeling the same way. It's nice to get a Sunday off, but
yeah,
still my mojo's a little off. You know?
Yeah, it does feel a little weird. There's no doubt in terms of not having football, especially early on, right? Like, I mean, this is early bye week, so it does feel a little awkward. You know, I will say, you know, I usually don't wear like kind of gold. You know, this is like a kind of a gold color. It's not really yellow. It looks good.
It's a gold. It's a gold.
It's a gold. Yeah. And that's because, you know, my Kansas State Wildcats are just absolutely horrible this year, losing a horrible game to. Well, it's Montana State. I'm now a Bobcat.
Why are you now a Bobcat?
Because it's a better cat. I'm just saying.
It's a better cat.
It's a better cat. Went to Montana for the bye week. Awesome trip. Bozeman, Montana. What a fabulous city. It's out there. That's God's country, man. You're talking about some majestic mountains. Oh, JP. I went to Denver with my wife, Ashley. We celebrated our 10-year anniversary back in May. Loved the Rockies. Yeah. As cool as Colorado was, I mean, it's like there's the Rockies. It's kind of like this little strip of mountains. in Bozeman, Montana, you are surrounded by mountains. It is absolutely amazing. We spent Saturday in Yellowstone down there in Wyoming. It was just mind-blowingly cool. And fall's in full effect up there, right? I mean, down here in Florida, there's no such thing as fall, right? There's no seasons. It's either hot or not as hot.
Right.
And it's either green or brown. Well, up there, it's yellow, it's orange, it's red, it's green. It's amazing. So
beautiful. Oh,
yeah.
So now, did you go to a resort there? Stay with friends?
Just Airbnb. We just said, where do we want to go during the bye week that we haven't been? Let's go to Big Sky Country. So we did that.
Yeah, it's on my bucket list, man. I got to get out there. I spent a lot of time in Colorado, but I haven't. I want to go to Yellowstone. Watching that last night, as a matter of fact. Yeah. I want to, and that's filmed in Bozeman, isn't it? A lot of it.
Well, it is now, but the first 3 seasons was actually filmed in Utah, believe it or not. But yeah, Bozeman it's a college town. It's where Montana State is, hence the Bobcat shirt. But it's really fun. Just absolutely great walkabout downtown area, and the mountains.
The weather was great. I bet
the weather was, like low in the morning of like 38 degrees, high in the afternoon 55 to 60. It was
perfect. That's perfect.
I was actually 15 yards away from a live buffalo out in Yellowstone. I'll send you a picture. It's crazy.
Nice.
I mean, you're talking about like 1,000-pound beast, and tempting fate a little bit, but it was eating. It wasn't like walking. It was like standing there.
Busy. Yeah.
It was busy. Yeah. So we took some pictures. It was
I've seen the elk amazing. in the Grand Canyon National Park. Been amongst the elk, and God, they're just incredible beings. I'm not a hunter. Okay. And I love hunter, but if you're into that, you got no problem, but I understand it all. I just can't imagine pulling a trigger on those beasts. They're just they're so majestic and wonderful and just incredible. And I'm like, well, whatever. But
make good hamburgers too.
We did eat some elk. It tastes very good. We had some bison. So
it is.
Awesome.
It's very good. All right, let's get to the meat of this football game here. The Lions coming to town. Bye week maybe came at a good time for the Bucs in terms of getting some guys back, especially Devin White. He said he feels much better than he did against the Eagles game. In the Eagles game, so.
Elijah Cansey's back. We're going to see Elijah Cansey on Sunday.
I'm really excited about that. Talk about the guys coming back.
Jamel Dean was out of practice yesterday. Elijah Cansey was there. Servassier Dennis, the reserve linebacker, was out there. Everybody really but Mike Evans. But from what I'm hearing from my sources, they feel by the end of the week, by Sunday, I mean, he might practice on Wednesday, right? He might practice on Thursday or Friday. But regardless, they feel even if he's a game time decision, he's probably going to be a go because the hamstring was just a tweak. It was not really a pull. Having the bye week was a godsend for Mike Evans because he probably would not have been able to play last week. But this week now with a little bit more time off to rest that hamstring, looks like the Bucs will be at full strength as long as nothing happens during practice this week. But that's good because they're going to need it, man. Yeah. The Lions they're legit. They're a no joke, really, really good football team on both sides of the ball. They've been created in their head coach's image, tough, physical in the trenches on both sides. They're a big physical team on defense. They've got a big offensive line with 3 former first-round picks at center and both tackles. They like to pound the ball with David Montgomery. And Jared Goff is really good at play action. 9 touchdowns this year, only 3 picks. As much praise as we're saying about Baker Mayfield down here, they're saying the same thing about Jared Goff up there, completing 69.8% of his passes. So the Lions, if you look at their box scores and just do some box score scouting, so the first thing that jumps out is touchdowns. This team does not really kick field goals. They score touchdowns. Yep. They had 6 last week against the Panthers, and granted the Panthers are the Panthers, but this team rolled into Kansas City in week 1, and they beat Patrick Mahomes at Arrowhead with 3 touchdowns on Thursday Night Football, right? I mean, they're a legit playoff contender. They're leading the North right now, and they're a dangerous team. This is going to be a great measuring stick game for the Bucs. We know the Bucs are not on the Eagles level, but we know they're better than the Saints. And I think right now, you look at the Lions, they're between the Eagles and the Saints. Yep. And so we'll see if the Bucs can level up and match them and beat them.
Yeah, and when you talk about the red zone offense for the Lions, the red zone defense for the Buccaneers has been really the difference. They're second in the league, allowing 27.3 touchdown conversion in the red zone. That's really, really good and a lot better than they were last year, 24th. They're 4th in third down defense, which is a winning edge, no question. They're 5th in passer rating against, 8th in points allowed. I would say that's a pretty damn good defensive effort. I know they haven't played, the greatest show on turf yet. The Eagles, though, are a very explosive offense. Yeah. So, and Vikings are not terrible, right? Or at least when we played them and they had Justin Jefferson. So I think 4 games sample size tells me this is a pretty damn good defense, and it's a good matchup.
Yeah, 2 things stand out to me and the things you're rattling off. Number one is they've done a better job against tight ends. Typically Todd Bowles, and they've got some pretty good linebackers, right? And Levante David and Devin White. And even, when you mix and match, sometimes you have a safety on a tight end, or if he lines up in the slot, then it's your nickel, corner who's on the tight end. But by and large, the tight end has been a bit of a thorn in the side of Todd Bowles over the years. But this year they've really clamped it down. I think Hawkinson only had 35 yards. He did have a high volume in week 1, but they've done a really good job. Dallas Goedert didn't really hurt the Bucs on Monday night. And Sam Laporta, this kid is no joke. The Bucs absolutely loved the Iowa tight end who was drafted in the 2nd round by Detroit. And this kid is a future Pro Bowler. He is that Hawkinson, Kelsey, Kittle type guy. Already has 3 touchdowns this year, and he's a dynamo. He's got the longest touchdown, or I should say the longest reception, 45 yards. He's got yards after catch ability. He is going to be their biggest challenge so far. And then the other thing I'll say is Zion McCollum's been the best cornerback in Tampa this year. He's had 3 starts, 2 for the injured Carlton Davis, 1 for the injured Jamel Dean last week. And you look at the PFF numbers and look at the film. I mean, he allowed 1 catch for 5 yards in New Orleans. He has become a lockdown corner. And it's kind of crazy because, the Bucs paid a bunch of money to Carlton Davis. Jamel Dean was the better corner last year. Then Jamel Dean makes his money. Zion McCollum is the better corner this year. Yeah. Jamel Dean hasn't had a great start to the year. So I asked Larry Foote, I said, when Jamel Dean gets back, Zion's been playing so well for you. What do you do? He's like, well, we have plans for all 3 guys.
Right.
And he said, but at the same time, may the best man win. And that's really going to be tested, right? Because you got a day 3 corner who's playing the best, and you got Jamel Dean, who you just paid $12 million a year, right? But the film says leave Zion in there. And we'll see if we're going to play the best man, if that really holds up, or if the Bucs brass says we're paying Jamel Dean $12 million, get him on the field, right? So we'll see.
Scott Reynolds joining us here from the Pewter Report. Jared Goff is back to the red zone, got a 116.9 rating in the red zone. And overall, he's been tremendous, I think. And let's give a little shout out to Chamberlain's own Brad Holmes, the GM of the Detroit Lions, and what a hell of a job he did. Yes, the Rams won a Super Bowl with Matthew Stafford. I get it. I don't think the Lions were. And he's remade this team with those draft picks. And by the way, Jared Goff's been a pretty damn good quarterback for him. Yeah. So this is a good roster, and Jared Goff is the reason why with that Matthew Stafford trade.
You're right. In the last year, he really made some strides, right? The first year, everyone's like, oh, gosh, why'd we give up Matthew Stafford? He just won a Super Bowl out in L.A. Lions fans were, gripping over that. But last year, we saw Jared Goff throw 29 touchdowns and 7 interceptions. That's his best touchdown to interception ratio that he's ever had, right? And sometimes like, you open up the box, right? And then you take the guy out and you stick him in the starting lineup and he just takes off, right? Tristan Wirfs comes to mind. Antoine Winfield comes to mind. Baker Mayfield in this offense comes to mind, right? The instant success, that's rare. And it didn't really happen for Jared Goff, but the light bulb clicked last year. And then you look at this year, completing 69.8% of his passes. That's his highest completion percentage of his career to date in any given season. And again, 9 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. That is, he's on pace to top what he did last year. And, you expect growth in an offense the more you are in it and you have experience with it. And here's the other thing, man. I mean, his top receivers are Amon-Ra St. Brown, who's a good receiver, but he doesn't have a Mike Evans, and Josh Reynolds, who he played 4 years with the Rams, who's kind of been like a little bit better than just a guy. He's been like an above average receiver, but he's no star, but he's got 3 touchdowns this year. Now he has Laporta he's getting it done without an all-star cast around him. But really, and it sounds crazy because we're talking Jared Goff here, but really, really good quarterbacks elevate the play of those around him. Yeah. And I think we have to, we've got to put aside the whole Hard Knocks, thing where his intelligence was questioned a couple years ago.
Yeah.
And the fact that he was a Rams cast off. He's a really, really good quarterback who's on a Pro Bowl caliber pace this season, and he's actually elevating the play of those around him. We have to give him his due. And you know what? Go back and look, man. He has been a thorn in the side to Todd Bowles. In that 55-40 Bucs win out there, that's the right score, folks. 55-40. Right. Look it up. In 2019 at the LA Coliseum against the Rams in a wild and wacky game, he threw for 517 yards and 3 touchdowns against Bowles. The Bucs did get the better of him that day, but he returned the favor in 2020. Right before the bye week, the Rams came in here and beat the Bucs. They were an all-pewter. I think it was a Monday night game. They beat them 27-24. Goff had over 300 yards and 3 touchdowns again. So this guy can sling it. Todd Bowles wants to take away the run and make the quarterback beat you. Okay, well, they've taken away the run a couple times with Jared Goff back when he was with the Rams, and he still beat them and still lit him up because he's that good of a quarterback.
Scott Reynolds joining us here, Pewter Report. Servassier Dennis may play this week. And I'm wondering, is there a role for him outside just backing up Devin White?
Yes.
I know Devin's been injured, but the tape has not been great. He's still having a hard time getting off blocks.
Yep.
He's made some plays here and there, but I'm wondering, does he and Kasey have a role this week? I know Kasey should. If he's healthy.
Yeah, Kasey will for sure. I think with Servassier and how they've used him a little bit this season has been in goal line and short yardage packages as an extra linebacker where they'll take the nickel corner off, right? When teams go 12, 13 personnel, they'll put him in there. And, he did get a play or two when KJ Britt was actually the guy that came in for Devin White when he was injured for a play or two, but he's played a minimal amount of snaps just because of that hamstring, really.
Yeah.
But even in the preseason, we saw him in some of those short yardage packages, and he's a good blitzer. So Todd Bowles, I think he's going to find some creative packages. It might be a 3-3-5 they come out in rather than a typical 4-2-5 in some packages just to get him on the field. He's pretty good in coverage. You go back and look at Pitt. They used him mostly as a blitzer, but this guy had like 3 pick sixes this offseason in practice. So it's not like Todd Bowles and Larry Foote can't trust him in coverage. I think they can. It just, he's been like Kasey. We haven't seen him because he's been hurt, right? And he needs to get some reps and experience. So yeah, I think that there is going to be a little bit of an onus to get him in for a handful of snaps just to get his feet wet in the NFL because injuries can happen at any time. And then, you're looking at KJ Britt and Servassier Dennis as the backups for Levante and for Devin.
And what do you see as Kasey's role this week? Do you think he'll get 50, 60, 70? I mean, because had he not been injured, I think he would be getting 65, 70% of the snaps right now.
Oh, no doubt.
Round pick.
Yes.
But I mean, you don't want to throw him back in there to that level. But I would like to see him get, maybe 25, 35% of snaps this week.
I think the great thing is they had the bonus practice on Monday, right? And then they'll have their traditional Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday practice. So I think he's going to get tested in terms of workload, in terms of reps during the week to see how much he can handle. So we check his football conditioning, which is different than just workout conditioning, right? So I think that having that extra day to kind of get a look at him and the fact that they didn't rest him on Monday and we'll make sure he's good to go for Wednesday. They put him out there on Monday, and by all accounts, he looked great. So I think that's a good sign, and they'll gauge during the week what his level of stamina is. And he's not the biggest guy; he's 6 foot 286, right? But he's the kind of guy that you want fresh in the fourth quarter to rush the passer because he has that instant ability to accelerate through the line of scrimmage and penetrate, whether it's stuff the run or rush the passer. So there probably is going to be a little bit of a governor on him, a little bit of a pitch count. But at the same time, man, Mike Green has not been getting it done. And he's been the guy in the base defense. You have Logan Hall, you've got Vita Vea, and you just look at the film or the PFF grades, they both align. Mike Green is not getting it done. So the more you can play Kalijah Kasey and not play Mike Green, the better off that this defensive front's going to be.
No question. All right. While you were out there playing in Montana, I don't know if you knew this, but Baker was out playing just about everywhere.
Yeah.
He was all over College Game Day, Pat McAfee show, everywhere.
He was working at Raising Cane's with Vince Young, too.
Yes. I mean, come on, man. It's just like but I love it. I love the Baker Mayfield renaissance, not only on the field, but off the field. And I'm here for it. Now, suddenly he's not the jerk that people thought he was, and he's beloved again. And I love it.
It seems to me like he had all of the growing pains in Cleveland, right? And I think when people were looking at his signing in free agency, a journeyman quarterback, 1 year, $4 million. Look at all the interceptions he's thrown, 64 picks. That's the most in the league since he entered. Okay, that's all true. But he's only thrown, a couple picks in Tampa. All those interceptions were in Cleveland.
That's right.
That was Cleveland's problem, right? Yeah. And so now the Buccaneers can benefit from him getting a lot of that stuff, a lot of those mistakes out of the way on their dime, not their own. And so, listen, when they decided to sign Baker Mayfield, it was Baker Mayfield and Jacoby Brissett, right? And there was some risk reward, more so with Baker than there was with Jacoby. But Jacoby's ceiling was only so high. With Baker, if you get the best version of Baker, it's way higher. And so Jason Light's a gambler. He took that risk, and it's paid off. And the wildest dream that the Bucs had in terms of getting Baker Mayfield, the Bucs brass I'm talking about collectively, the head coach, the GM, everybody, was, we're bringing in this Dave Canales guy from Seattle, and this is supposedly a quarterback-friendly system that is really easy to learn and operate. So him coming in with a revamped offensive line that's learning it at the same time, with receivers that are learning it for the first time, and kind of a rookie running back, if you will, in Rashad White. This is the system. If anyone's going to thrive, it's going to be Baker Mayfield in this easy-to-learn, quarterback-friendly system that helped another journeyman quarterback, Geno Smith, up there in Seattle at age 32, throw for 4,000 yards for the first time, go to his first Pro Bowl, and win NFL Comeback Player of the Year.
Yeah.
Now, I say what you want about it. DeMar Hamlin probably coming back from cardiac arrest is the automatic shoe-in if he sees the field, right? For Comeback Player of the Year award. Okay, fine, whatever. But in reality, it seems like Baker Mayfield's following this primrose path that Geno Smith did last year in this exact same offense. Remember, everybody wrote off the Seahawks last year, left them for dead. God, they traded Russell Wilson. They didn't even address the quarterback position in the draft. I mean, they traded for Drew Lock, right, the backup in Denver, and he's going to compete with the holdover Geno Smith. Yeah, and Pete Carroll knew something that nobody else did, which is, Geno Smith's pretty good.
Yeah. And those draft picks they got have turned out to be pretty good
too. Yeah. So, I mean, this offense was the catalyst for Geno Smith's success. This offense seems like so far it's the catalyst for Baker Mayfield's success. Very similar paths so far. We'll see how it ends.
Yeah. Scott, I've always been a big Baker Mayfield guy from his time at Texas Tech. Not so much at OU. I'm an A&M fan, but I've always loved his moxie. I've liked his game. I loved him planting the flag in college, on the opposing team's 50-yard line. I love that. I love what he did at
KU personally as a K-Stater. So
right. There you go.
Yeah.
And I always thought, as a matter of fact, I bought my second Cleveland Browns jersey of my life. The first being Johnny Manziel, again, because I'm an Aggie, when he got drafted.
You're forgiven.
Of course, it didn't work out in Cleveland. It didn't work out in Carolina. But I always thought that Baker was the kind of guy he needed to be in the right place, like many quarterbacks do.
Yes.
They have to be in the right situation with the right team, with the right group of people around them, support-wise. And it almost feels like Tampa Bay is that situation for him. Do you think this is something that he can sustain for a couple of years in Tampa, get another contract, and stay there for a few years?
Yes, and something that I've told Jason Light, and hopefully he'll listen and pay attention, is I've covered this team for 28 years. This is almost 3 decades in this market. I have yet to see a drafted quarterback do squat, to keep it clean, in this market. You've seen little flashes and glimpses of, Vinny Testaverde, who was before my time, but Trent Dilfer. I came into the Bucs in 95, right? Dilfer was the quarterback. Trent Dilfer had flashes. Josh Freeman had flashes. Jameis Winston had flashes. Sean King had flashes. Chris Sims had flashes. But if you look The only quarterbacks that have done squat in Tampa Bay have been free agent imports. It's been Brad Johnson winning a Super Bowl with the Bucs in 2002. It's been Brian Griese taking the team to 11-5 in 2005. It's Jeff Garcia winning a division title with John Gruden in 2007. It's been Tom Brady who's won a Super Bowl here in Tampa. So, for all these people that before the start of the season, want to tank for Caleb Williams. Okay, well, you better be that terrible to where you're going to get that number one pick. And this is a flush quarterback draft. This is a mega quarterback draft coming up, right? It is. At the same time, Jameis Winston, Josh Freeman, Justin Fields, Mitch Trubisky, Trey Lance, EJ Manuel. We can go on and on. Sure, there's a Patrick Mahomes. Sure, there's a Joe Burrow. Sure, there's a Josh Allen, right? Sure, there's a Lamar Jackson. If you want a good quarterback, you got to hit on that first round pick, right? But at the same time, the first round is also fraught with peril drafting first round quarterbacks. Franchises have been set back or held back. In the case of Jameis Winston, look at that. We gave Jameis Winston 5 years in Tampa. And they made one move in 2020. We're going to switch one quarterback, boop, for the other, boop. Right. And all of a sudden, Super Bowl. Like Jason Light had built a Super Bowl team that stalled out at 7-9 with Jameis Winston in 2019. And so I'm tired of covering this franchise that keeps drafting quarterbacks that don't amount to squat.
Yep.
So if Baker Mayfield is doing it, pay him money, man. It's only one quarterback in the NFC South right now that has any playoff wins. That's Baker Mayfield. Went into Pittsburgh with the Browns in 2020 and beat the Steelers in their own house. And by the way, they lost the next week to Kansas City, the eventual AFC champion who lost to the Bucs.
In a very close game, by the way.
In a very close game. That's forgivable, right? That's fine. But I'm just saying, Andy Dalton another former first-round pick, doesn't have any playoff wins. Had that pan out for Cincinnati, right? Yeah. Now he's with the Panthers. We'll see how Bryce Young does, right? But we got to wait 4 or 5 years, right? Right. Yeah. And even Derek Carr doesn't have any playoff wins from his time in the Raiders. So why not Baker Mayfield?
Yeah, and even if the Bucs, if he has a good year this year and the Bucs sign him, and I think Baker wants to be here for a while, Baker's not going to be breaking the bank. Look at what Geno got. Geno got good money, but it ain't $50 million, $55 million a year that some of these other guys are getting. And it allows you to put a team around him. And if Dak Prescott was smart, this next contract, he'd go for 25 and not 40. You made a couple of years, you made a ton of money.
Sure.
You're not the guy. You need a team around you. So let them put a team around you and don't handicap your team in the salary cap.
The other thing, and I think Cleveland really screwed the entire NFL. I mean, what an awful precedent to set with the fully guaranteed contract.
Shocking development, right? Cleveland.
Yeah, I mean, just Deshaun Watson, who's not even playing now, he's hurt or whatever. Just not even close to being the guy they thought he was going to be, and he's going to, I think, ruin that franchise as well. Yeah. Or keep it ruined. It already is
for many years to come.
But my point is especially for a guy like Baker who loves a challenge, right? He's got that moxie. He's ready for the fight, right? I always think, and I'd love to see almost like term limits. We need term limits in Congress. If I can just get on my soapbox for a minute, okay? Now I'm getting. I don't want to be too political, but for both parties, for the uniparty, whatever, term limits, right? Okay.
Which, by the way, 95% of people in America want them. So you would think if this is an actual democracy, we should get that. Why isn't that happening?
Yeah. What about by the people, for the people? What happened to that? Anyways, I digress. I think quarterbacks, more so than any other position, quarterbacks should be why doesn't the NFL go to incentive-laden contracts?
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
I think the perfect contract should be, especially for rookies, right? Because you always hear that. It's like, I'm stuck on my rookie deal, right? I'm Tristan Wirfs. I'm an instant Pro Bowler right out of the box, right? Tristan Wirfs should be making way more money than he is making right now. Contracts in the NFL should be fluid, just the same way where when GMs and head coaches give players, I shouldn't say players, give assholes money, right? Because they blow up in their contract year. and then they got their money. Now they're a fat cat, right? Yep. And I got my guaranteed money, and then the work ethic slides. We've seen it here in Tampa with several players. It happens around the league. I think contracts should be fluid. You should be paid what you're worth. And if your performance decreases, your pay should decrease. And if you outplay your contract, you should get immediately rewarded for that.
Immediately,
right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So my whole thing is like, I'm with you. Pay him a Geno Smith type money, fill it with incentives, and say, Baker, we're going to give you a really good amount of money. And hell, man, you could make as much as Patrick Mahomes if you win the MVP, go to a Pro Bowl, take us to the Super Bowl and win. I would fill that contract with incentives because I think Baker's the kind of guy that loves a challenge, and he loves to have a little bit of doubt. Like, oh, okay, you're giving me a B contract. I'm worth an A. I'm going to show you. And the Bucs are like, yes, please show us.
Exactly.
Well, everybody knows that players try harder in contract years. Of course. You can make every year a contract year for every
Bingo, Tim. Yeah. You're exactly right. Yeah. Exactly. And I get the guaranteed contract thing, and I think other sports ruin it too, right?
Yeah.
Other sports like NBA and Major League Baseball, they ruin it for the NFL because you have these agents who they have players in those leagues too, right? And they try to apply some of those principles to the NFL, and
league.
It is. So I don't know. I think under the current system, though, Baker is certainly worthy of a Geno Smith type contract, but load it up with incentives, Mike Greenberg.
If he's smart, that's what he would take. And don't make, because when you take all the money, you get all the pressure and you make your team worse. Yeah. The
grass is not always greener. I mean, the Cleveland Browns thought that they were going to get the Houston Texans version of the Deshaun Watson trade, and they haven't gotten that guy. So many times, and you see it with college coaches too. Like Scott Frost was doing really good in UCF, right? He chased the money, went to his alma mater. It sounded great, and it was a failure for the Cornhuskers, right? Josh Heupel was the king of Florida, winning at UCF. Now he goes to SEC country with Tennessee. He's going to always be the third or fourth best team in the SEC. Is it worth it? I don't know. Yeah. Stay where you're having success. And if I'm Baker Mayfield, I'm staying right here in this offense that's making me look good.
He's a good fit in the community. He fits the blue collar mentality of this town.
Yes.
It's a perfect marriage. Don't screw it up.
It is. You're right.
All right, Scotty, tell everybody how they can get your great content. What's going on this week at Pewter Report?
We got plenty of Bucs Lions coverage. Just put up our Pewter Report roundtable. Which Lion do the Bucs need to tame on Sunday for them to have success? I've got a new Pewter Pulse video up there about the Bucs creamsicle uniforms and how they need to win in those creamsicle uniforms. They're like 1-3 in creamsicle throwback.
Shocking development.
Don't tell anybody, but it's not really like a good thing to wear the creamsicles.
It's not.
Matter of fact, the Bucs were 0-5 in their last games in creamsicles against the Lions. Enough. Anyways, check us out on Pewter Report TV. We have a podcast tomorrow. We're having Tony Dungy, former Bucs head coach, on Thursday. Podcast at 4:00. So you can find that on Pewter Report TV. That's our YouTube channel. Awesome. Subscribe to that, and then follow us on X, Facebook, and Instagram at Pewter Report, and of course PewterReport.com, the mothership.
Awesome stuff, Scotty. Thanks, buddy. Appreciate your time.
It. Thanks, guys.
Go Montana Wildcats, whatever.
Montana State.
Yeah, there you go. All right, we'll take another break. When we come back, TJ Reves, Bucs sideline guy, will join us. He's going to talk some Lightning and some Rays and some college football as well. So it's not all Bucs, kids. Stay with us. Quick break. We're brought to you by the Jeeves Law Group, Bay Area Modern Medical Center, Italiano Insurance, and the Golden Diamond Source, Extravaganza Productions, and American Mortgage Services. Stay with us.
Coins sitting around the house. Well, the Golden Diamond Source will purchase a variety of different types of coins and bullion. Their gold buying program includes sterling silver, silver, platinum, and watches. They also accept unusual pieces that other jewelry stores do not, such as gold bars and sterling silver flatware. The list of items they do accept is far more extensive than those they don't, so check it out. While you're there, you can check out the largest collection of any family-owned jewelry store in the country, especially with summer coming to an end. The holidays are right around the corner. Never too early to start your holiday shopping, especially if you're planning on getting engaged or have any birthdays or anniversaries coming up. Come on in and find out what buying jewelry should be like with an expert staff of gold and diamond jewelry enthusiasts. And the best part, they treat you like family. And if you're worrying about price, don't. The Golden Diamond Source has something for everyone's budget. They even have a layaway. If you stop in and get your favorite piece now, you can have it paid off by Christmas. Plus, you can even finance your purchase with 0% interest for up to 5 years, and you can get a $5,000 diamond for only $83 a month. It's the greatest folks in the world, Julie and Steve Weintraub, the Golden Diamond Source, 3800 Olmerton Road, always online at thegoldendiamondsource.com.
JP here for my good friends at Italiano Insurance, and they did it again. Once again, Italiano Insurance stepping up with the best customer service. I was in a bind. My old insurance company, my auto insurance, jacked up my rates, so I called Charity at Italiano Insurance, and she stayed till 9:30 at night until she got my insurance done. And guess what? She searched all these companies for me. I didn't do the work. She did. Saved me $1,000 on my annual premium. $1,000, folks. That's real money. And that's what you get at Italiano Insurance. Great customer service. And here's another note for you, by the way, with hurricane season up. 40% of people in Florida are underinsured. That means if you have something happen during a hurricane and you need replacement costs, you're going to get 40% less than you deserve. Can't let that happen. Call the folks at Italiano Insurance and get them to help you out in both those regards. It will save you money and keep you insured properly. That's 813-877-7799. Great folks in the community, been doing it for over 60 years. Italiano Insurance, 813-877-7799.
All right. Well, Fitz the mortgage guy did it again. A listener heard his ad, was going to another big bank, but called Scott Fitzgerald at American Mortgage Services of Tampa, and Fitz saved him $618 on his monthly payment. Are you kidding me? Folks, that's big money. Rates are going up, they're going down, they're going all over the place. Scott will shop your loan and save you lender fees and get the best rates. Email him, scott@amstampa.com, or call 813-294-7595. That's Fitz, the mortgage guy. Lots of stuff going on right now, and these rates are going all over the place. Some knowledge in the market that will work hard for you and get you the best deal. That's my man, Scott. He's done 3 loans for me, done thousands of loans for local folks here, works with a lot of the coaches and players in the area. He's the guy. 813-294-7595, or go to scott@amstampa.com.
Let's go. Right now, back to the show with JP on FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show here, brought to you by the great folks at the Patio. We were out there last night. Boy, that was fun. Beautiful night. It's like 72 degrees for Monday Night Football. Kind of a crappy game. Oh, it's a beautiful place, all outdoors, under the palm trees. Great.
I'm gonna have to come to Tampa just for that reason, right? So I can go to the patio and hang out.
Patio is fun, man. Great. And we gave away 2 tickets to the opener last night. We'll be giving away 2 tickets next week on Monday night. So come out and join us 5 to 7 o'clock. Best place to watch sports, under the stars, under the palm trees, right there, 421 South McDill. Happy hour every day from 3 to 7:30. $1 off beer and wine. They're already inexpensive prices. So head on out to the Patio. You never know who you might see there. A lot of local athletes like hanging out there because it's not one of the ritzy places, the snooty sports bars. So you never know who you're going to see at the Patio. You might see TJ Reeves. Nah, probably not. Join, or maybe you will. You're not a big drinker though, TJ. You're not.
Hey, I have been known to consume a chicken wing or 2,
yes,
or 10, or 20, and if they got good ones at the Patio, I'm down with it whenever we're available.
They got a little food truck in there now. They used to not have food, but now they put a little food truck in there inside, and they have a gentleman there that's making the wings are outstanding. All the food there is really, really good. So, come on by. You should come on by next Monday night.
The Monday night hangout there in Soho. I love it. We've got so many avenues to travel today, including this, because the Bucks are putting the orange on for the first time in over a decade this week. We'll get to that. It was 7 days ago, however, that I was sitting with you on this program, looking forward to going to game 1 of the wild card series with the Rangers. And do you want to hold me 10% responsible, 15% responsible? Did I not say, am I going to have PTSD if I go into that stadium?
It's not your fault.
And this Jordan Montgomery guy starts reincarnating Cliff Lee as a left-handed pitcher, just putting the Rays bats to sleep. Did I not?
Did
I put that into motion?
But it's not your fault. No, I'm not. I'm tired of blaming the fans. I'm tired.
By the way, thank you for that. Thank you for that, TJ.
I know, because you're a Rangers guy, Indy Carson.
I am.
Okay, so in terms of psychological issues that we have right now. We're beaten down. We're like in the bargaining phase as Rays fans. Do we take some consolation that if the Rangers go ahead and sweep the Orioles, that we don't feel as bad? We don't feel good, but we don't feel as bad if they go ahead and clean the Orioles out. What do you say, JP?
I say I know, because I don't feel like the Rangers were the reason you scored no runs.
Agreed.
Like, you didn't show up. For the second straight year, you didn't show up.
Scored more than the Rays.
Yeah, it's true. It's like I don't. Are the Rangers that great? I mean, I look at them and I'm like, they're good. They're a good ball club, but they're not great.
They're great offensively.
Yeah, they are.
Yes.
They are certainly better than the Rays.
Here's the other thing. The bullpen, obviously, and IndyCar Tim knows this, is a disaster. And the Rays could never put any pressure on them to get into that bullpen and have it melt down. And so it was just very frustrating last week. And I will bow to you. I am bowing to you figuratively and literally on the JP Peterson show, because you were bringing up the David Ortiz comments about 3 weeks ago, a month ago or more, where he was saying built for the regular season, built for the long haul, 162 games, but this doesn't work in October. And you have been on the pulpit saying you've got to have higher paid, experienced postseason stars, or this is going to keep happening. And we now have a large enough sample size over 3 postseasons. This team, this franchise, low payroll or not, has won close to 300 regular season games. Yeah. They have the best regular season record in Major League Baseball the last 3 years, and have, as a friend of mine likes to say, squadouche to show for it. They have won nothing. Can't even win a game the last 2 years in the postseason. Now, I know last year you were hurt.
Can't score a run.
I know. So I guess I'm going through the final stage of the grief of whatever, but are we concluding that if they do wipe the Orioles out tonight, the Rangers, that we feel a little better about what happened? You're saying no.
Listen, not only that, but your GM said yesterday that he thought this roster was good enough for a deep postseason run. You started Curtis Mead at second base.
That's correct.
For God's sakes. You got, this team is not – no. You had 2 pitchers of note, and I'm not here to say that Zach Eflin is a postseason stopper, and Glasnow's postseason record has been abysmal for the most part.
Right.
Not that it was his fault, because 4 errors, but that's not a postseason roster that you think is going to go deep with all that inexperience.
And I thought, just like we see in other sports, they played tight from like the second inning on, being out there in game 1. I'm out there with our man Peter Blake. I'm out there with Grandpa Rives on my right. I got Peter Blake on my left. I'm in the left center field stands, and I'm like, they are tight right now. Tight, not tight in a good way. Tight as in nervous, like as we like to call it, tightiest of the sphinctiest. They are afraid to do anything right now, and you can't play that way. And the Rangers played loose. Rangers are like house money. They're like IndyCar Tim on a weekend at the casino, up by plus 300. They are rolling. They feel nothing. They feel no pain. And it's continued in Baltimore. I mean, they bludgeoned Baltimore Sunday. Now, they tried to give it back. Tim, you got to concede. They tried to give it back like in the 9th inning. They're giving away runs.
Yeah,
and we'll see.
I was terrified, but they didn't Ranger themselves.
and by the way, the last time they were in the World Series, which if I'm correct is the only time they're in the World Series, that's when they beat the Rays in 2010 with what I was telling you about. So maybe this is the key that jump starts them. They get into the postseason on the wild card, and now they may be on the verge of being in the American League Championship Series. They are on the verge of being in the American League Championship Series. It's crazy. Can we move on to happier things? Go ahead.
The best thing that happened to this team, not to bring y'all down anymore, was not winning the division and getting the bye. Because this team doesn't need a break. This team needed to get back on the field. It needed to get back swinging the bats. And I think that made all the difference for this club, not getting the
best thing that happened to that team is when Jose Siri butchered that play in center field right in front of us and launched the ball into the Rangers dugout and gave them 2 runs and a 4-0 lead. And at that point, I'm looking around in the outfield going, you hate to say this is over. They can't score a run. This is over at 4-0. And are we seriously going to sit here and watch this team with 99 regular season wins bow out meekly? That's exactly what happened. And one more thing. One more, give me my theme music is right. One more thing on the whole debate about the stadium. You know, because I have been in this market now for 40 years of my life. Yes. I have been here from the inception of baseball. I have heard the debate. I've watched the debate is over. The 7 words, the stadium is in the wrong place. Keep putting that on a billboard, on a bumper sticker. The stadium is in the wrong place. You want to know why there were 19,000 people instead of 35,000 people last week? 2 or 3 reasons. Start time, part of it. But most of the people are coming from Hillsborough County. Most of them are coming over one of the bridges over Hillsborough County. I don't have this officially, but I can tell you that I sat in the traffic, including the 5 o'clock traffic, for like 90 minutes trying to get home to Northwest Hillsborough County. That probably of that 19,000 announced, easily 10,000, if not 12 to 13,000 of it was Hillsborough County.
Yeah. And that's the big thing that, and I never like to make this a provincial argument at Tampa St. Pete. I don't like doing it, but the numbers are the numbers. The biggest problem is one of the biggest problems.
It is the biggest problem.
St. Pete don't go to the games.
The biggest problem is
about, we got it, and St. Pete gave you the Heisman, Tampa, and you're just pissed off because St. Pete got it. Like, why don't you ever look at your fellow residents and say, get off your ass and go to the games? You're the ones that live 10, 15 minutes away from the freaking stadium. So why don't you get off your ass and get some season tickets and go to the freaking games? None of you do.
Right. By the way, they did
spend $1.3 billion of public money to give to a billionaire to build a freaking stadium that's going to be empty.
In the same location. In the same location. But I've been round and round with numerous people about this for the last week. One more, and then we'll move on. To think tonight, you're going to be around the Lightning and the Predators tonight for opening night. That's going to have 20,000 people there. They're going to have 20,000 at every game, and they've been winning the same way in the regular season that the Rays have been winning. Yeah. To think that the baseball team would not have had 30 or 35,000 last Tuesday and Wednesday afternoon if the stadium was in the right place, the Rays admitted it themselves back in the whole 2018 stadium debate. Yeah, that it needed to be in a location where many more of their buying public fans would be able to get to the game. So that was just it was a complete indictment of that location.
You were there. The energy was low, right? I mean, the fans had
the energy was fine at the beginning and to crank up at the beginning of the game and for the first inning or two, and then it became pins and needles. It became panic. It became Titius of the Sphinctius all the way around. You were trying to manufacture something with the yellow towels. But then you get behind 2-0, 4-0, and when they did not get out to an early lead in game 2 to put the pressure on, it's amazing what happened there. But yeah, I mean, we're going to be sitting here. I don't believe, as we continue to sit here and talk, I don't believe you're ever going to see the downtown stadium thing come to fruition. Maybe I'm going to be proven wrong, but I don't think you're going to see shovels in the ground or construction or any of that ever happen. But the debate is over about whether people are coming to that location or not on a regular basis. It's over. It's been over. Yep. So anyway, you got the Lightning tonight. So this is exciting with them starting back up. And then we got this. Yes. We got the Bucks coming Sunday against the Detroit Lions.
You want to go to. So if you don't have tickets, where you got to go, TJ? Ticketsmarter.com.
Ticketsmarter.com is sponsoring FanStream JP. We got the audience hooked up. So if they're trying to go to opening night tonight, I just looked before I came on. We have actual research done just prior to the segment that if you're trying to get in on the secondary market right now, most places, whether you're talking about Ticketmaster, StubHub, any of them, TicketSmarter has the most competitive prices on the secondary market. TicketSmarter mobile app, ticketsmarter.com. Right now, you can get in the 300 level for $50 in a couple of spots, but for most of the tickets, even on the secondary market tonight for the Predators game, Lightning and Predators, it's $70 and up. The lower level seats are all $200, $250, et cetera, and it's going to be that way for most Lightning home games probably moving forward. So use the code FANSTREAM10 and take $10 off your order of $100 or more, just for you, your audience here on FanStream Sports and on the JP Peterson Show. FanStream10 gets you $10 off your $100 order. And then if you are spending $300 or more, which you're going to, if you're going to buy a couple of tickets, especially in a lower level, you're going to spend $300 tonight. So go on the secondary market, ticketsmarter.com. FanStream20 gets you $20 off. Yeah. Use the code, people. Use the code. It benefits everybody. I was just looking at the Buccaneer game for Sunday at Raymond James Stadium.
Yeah, what are they going
Good God. In the 300 level, the cheapest tickets on most of the secondary market, and including Ticket Smarter, are starting at $175 for the third level.
Shiz.
If you are sitting in the lower level, because the Lions fans are coming and the Bucs are putting the orange on and the Buccaneers have gotten off to a good start, lower level starts at $400 depending on where you're sitting. A ticket. Again, use FanStream 20 on that. Take $20 off your $300 or more offer. Ticketsmarter.com. Ticketsmarter mobile app. Take advantage of that promo code Lightning Game tonight or on Sunday. Again, their secondary prices are as competitive as anybody out there with their algorithm. Your purchase is safe and secure. Ticketsmarter.com. Ticketsmarter mobile app. Free plug. Use the promo codes. FanStream JP. The FanStream 10, $10 off a $100 order. FanStream 20, $20 off a $300 order. Simple. Boom.
Go get him. Go get him. Wow, that's Eagles prices for this game.
I actually think it is a tougher, more expensive ticket right now, midweek, early in the week, on the secondary market for the Lions game. So take advantage, and that tells you there are going to be a lot of Detroit Lion fans here. There's demand.
But I think there's going to be a lot. I think a lot of people have bought into the creamsicle.
Sure.
It's going to be a party.
It's been a decade.
Creamsicle party. It's been, let's go.
You got to go back. Do I even say the name? You got to go back to the Greg Schiano era. You got to go back to Josh Freeman, Vincent Jackson, Gerald McCoy. You got to go back to that LeGarrette Blount wearing the orange. Back in the throwback, I believe it was the 2012 season. It's the last time they've won it, 11 years ago. So. It's been a while. They're going to be in the orange. It's going to be cool. It's going to stir up the memories of Leroy Selman and Doug Williams and James Wilder and all
Jimmy
those guys.
Giles.
And by the way, Warren Sapp and Derek Brooks and Mike Allstott and Rondé Barber will remind you they all wore the orange too. They all wore it at the beginning of their careers in the 90s. I think Rondé did not wear it at the beginning of his career, but Rondé wore it in the throwback games. But Allstott, his first season was 96. You were here in the market. His first season was 96, and he was wearing the orange before they changed the uniforms in 97. But Sapp and Brooks were rookies in 95 wearing Bucko Bruce and the throwback orange. And as Doug told me, as Jimmy Giles, the great tight end, told me when we did a bunch of retro stuff for Buccaneers.com and podcasts and the Buccaneer shows, they said, we never had any problem winning that orange. In 78, 79, 80, 81, we were winning games in the orange. Yeah, and when Doug left and when Leroy retired, it all went down the toilet. And then everybody wanted to blame the orange uniforms. But this will be fun. This will be fun to watch this week and see what happens.
And we just had Scott Reynolds on talking a lot of X's and O's about this game. But add to it for me just your feeling of like where this team is at right now at 3-1. The Lions coming in. It's a home game. They flexed it to 425, which is fantastic. It'll be nice and cool. As well. I think it's going to be cooler this weekend too. So, I mean, the atmosphere, you on the sideline, the creamsicle, the powder blues of the Lions. I remember the last time they were here. I remember the 90s, the last game in the Sombrero, the 97 playoff game.
Correct.
Where that was at the first
that was
playoff
correct.
Win.
The first playoff win in going back to 1979, going back 18 years. And that was the last Buccaneer game played at Raymond James at Old Tampa Stadium. It was one of the final events there. I think they may have had like Rowdy Soccer or Tampa Bay Mutiny Soccer after that, something. But the last Buccaneer game was Mike Allstott cutting it back in the middle of the field from about the 15-yard line and running in, and the place absolutely erupted. Were you standing? I know that was against Scott Mitchell, Barry Sanders and company. Were you standing down with the media down in the south end zone? We all were. Because I was not on the game broadcast at that point, but like the fireworks were going off. Brad Culver's riding by on the Tampa police officer's horse. Yeah. They're all celebrating, hugging, and it was
Houlihan Stadium.
Houlihan Stadium. It was a surreal thing. It was a surreal thing.
By the way, it was Houlihan Stadium, and there were no Houlihan's restaurants in the state of Florida.
Confirmed. Branding for outside of the state of Florida, correct, for Houlihan's for that 1 year. But yes, we were there, and that was the Lions, and this goes back. The Buccaneers clinched their first ever playoff berth as the NFC Central champions with Doug Williams throwing a bomb hello to Kevin House in the Pontiac Silverdome against the Detroit Lions. So there is history going back to the early 80s. These guys were rivals in the NFC Central and played twice every year for about 30 years until the division switched up. So this will be a lot of fun. You remember the game where Barry Sanders came out of his shoe. It's all over YouTube still. You can go back and watch how it came out of his shoe. And John Lynch missed him. He came out of his shoe and he still ran like 70 yards with one shoe. With one shoe laying back at the 20-yard line, he ran the rest of the way. So there have been some moments. There have been some moments in this series, and now it renews. And Detroit is good. Their defense is good. Their run game is good. But what do the Bucs do well? By and large, they stop the run. Mm-hmm. So let's see if Detroit trying to get the run game going with David Montgomery, if that's going to matter, if that's going to mean anything. But it's going to be quite the atmosphere to put the orange on and
packed house,
see what this team can do. Because again, there's a lot of revisionist history going on. I saw Peter King's column, and Peter King has the Bucs in his power rankings list number 10, and he put it in bold letters. I was wrong about this team. Good. And so he's already owned up. If you get this win, as we keep saying, it's not everything. But if you come off the bye and you're 4-1, beating a really good Lions team, you are one of the most relevant teams in the NFL 5 games, 6 weeks into the regular season. Who had that, my friend?
Well, it's only 2 teams with better records, right? The Eagles and the 49ers, right?
That's correct.
That's it. And that's go to 4-1, and put the Lions pelt on your on the mantle there. That's a whole different deal now.
It's not the whole season. I get it. And people are going to say, what are you doing in December? What are you doing in January when the postseason begins? I get that. But we aren't in December or January yet. All we have to go on is what have they done so far? And clearly they're a lot better than a lot of people gave them credit for. And this will be a true test. This will be a true measurement because that Detroit team is no joke. I don't know how much of that Carolina game you got to see. I saw some of it on Sunday with the Bucs bye week.
Yeah.
But they punched them in the snout about 5 minutes into that game, and it was over. Yep. And by the way, shout out to everybody that had the Carolina Panthers as the surprise team, maybe going to contend to win the NFC South. When there were those of us saying, first-year head coach, rookie quarterback who's
5'5" quarterback,
180 pounds something quarterback who's been playing at Alabama. They will be fortunate, the Panthers, to win 2 games or 3 games.
And we got 2 games left with them, which is nice.
Late in the correct.
Right.
So this will be a true test. This will be a true measurement this week. The Lions are good, people. The Lions went to Green Bay and beat Green Bay. I know Green Bay lost again last night. You don't accidentally go in there and outplay them at Lambeau. They beat Kansas City in the beginning of the year and outplayed them in the second half. So be on your game. Do not turn it over. We saw a lot of penalties in the Superdome. Hopefully that's cleaned up in the bye week. Do not help them with turnovers, the Lions. Do not help them with
Sean Hockley is not doing this. Sean Hockley doing this game?
I don't think so.
I haven't checked yet.
So I don't think so.
JP hates Sean Hockley.
Vicious jerk.
Yeah, that's a great Marv Levy line from all of that, with all the conferencing and all the clicking on of the mic and making inane announcements and what have you. We can do better on that. We'll see. And again, interestingly, what did we establish? It's the Eagles playing in the late afternoon. I think the Eagles are playing the Jets. I think that's right.
Yeah. In New York. Yep.
Fox is getting most of the game. Most of the country is getting that game. Okay.
But if the Eagles by halftime.
If the Eagles start pummeling them, this is why they moved the game to 4:25 in part, because more of the country will now be switched to Buccaneers-Lions if it's a blowout in the second half. And I'm sure a lot of the upper Midwest is getting the Lions game. The state of Florida is getting the Lions game. But most of the rest of the country is going to get Eagles, and the New York Northeast markets on Fox will get it.
Now with everybody streaming anyway, they can pick whatever game they want to watch. So I think there'll be a lot more people watching this game.
Fox has already protected this a couple of times with "Let's go to the other game."
Yeah,
this game is such a blowout. Let's go to the other game. So the Buccaneers
there've been a lot of one-sided games this year. There've been a lot. Right. So interesting year.
And here's a sneak preview for you boys that pertains to Tampa Bay sports as I'm here in Dallas.
All right.
Tomorrow night on the Colby Sapp and IndyCar Tim Show right here on FanStream Sports, we do our NFL picks against the spread. The Lions and the Bucs is one of the games we're picking. Lions favored by 3.5.
Ooh.
I'm taking the Lions. I'm sorry. I'm taking the Bucs. Just kidding. I'm taking the Bucs. I'm taking the Bucs.
Yes.
Home
because look, here's my power rankings right now, and I'm a Cowboys fan, TJ.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not a delusional Cowboys fan. I've got the Niners is the best team in the league. The Eagles second, Lions third, Bucks fourth.
In the NFC. That's
the
probably
NFC.
fair.
Those are my power rankings right there.
And
Cowboys,
so,
by the way, number like 14.
Yeah, after the other night.
Yeah.
Well, but as we pointed out, just real quick one more time, Philadelphia is going to keep pummeling people, running the ball in particular, like what they did to the Buccaneers. That 49er team, good Lord, good luck. Good luck with them the rest of the year.
They are so freaking physical.
So
Purdy has to fail at some point, right? He has to fail at some point. You would
think, but he's locked in right now. They're excellent on defense. They've got McCaffrey to run the ball. I'm not saying crown them yet, and we'll see them in about 5 weeks. Buccaneers at San Francisco. You want a little intel? You want a little intel? Pay attention. If the Buccaneers beat the Lions, the 49er game is on the radar for Sunday Night Football to be flexed. You keep winning. You keep winning because that night, if I'm correct, Kansas City rematches Denver.
Oh, God,
Kansas City and Denver play this Thursday at Kansas City. If Kansas City beats them, they're now 1-5. If Denver's now 1-6 after next weekend, I don't think they're sticking with Sunday Night Football with Mahomes and company at Denver. So the question is, what do they flex? And you've got San Francisco Buccaneers sitting there. I'm not saying I have that on any authority.
Unless there's going to be a special guest in the box.
Oh, God.
Well, Taylor Swift. Right. That would be the only reason to tune in.
There's no way they're not taking that off Sunday Night Football.
Well,
he's such a Swiftie.
Yeah, I believe that may be the weekend that her concert goes live in the theaters too. So there ain't no way.
Well, maybe not. And maybe you're right on ulterior motives on that too. But just keep an eye on Buccaneers, 49ers for about 5 weeks from now, because if you get a win to go to 4-1, and let's get greedy and say beat the Falcons at 6-1.
Yeah.
Or 5-1. How good does that game look now for a flex possibility? It's already an afternoon game because it's in San Francisco, but we'll see.
We'll see. All right.
Got to win them first.
Buddy. Ticketsmarter.com. TJ Reeves brought to you by Ticketsmarter.com.
There you go. FanStream 20. Take $20 off the $300 order. Get into the Lightning game tonight. Get into the Bucks game. All good. You guys be well. I love being on with you. Let's see what happens.
Appreciate your time as always.
See what happens.
All right, quick break. When we come back, Kasey Hudson covering the Lightning. We will chat with her about tonight's big opener. Lots of goings on. So we'll chat with Kasey in 3 minutes. Stay with us.
Well, Fitz the mortgage guy did it again. A listener heard his ad, was going to another big bank, but called Scott Fitzgerald at American Mortgage Services of Tampa, and Fitz saved him $618 on his monthly payment. Are you kidding me? Folks, that's big money. Rates are going up, they're going down, they're going all over the place. Scott will shop your loan and save you lender fees and get the best rates. Email him, scott@amstampa.com, or call 813-294-7595. That's Fitz the mortgage guy. Lots of stuff going on right now, and these rates are going all over the place. You need somebody knowledgeable in the market that will work hard for you and get you the best deal. That's my man, Scott. He's done 3 loans for me, done thousands of loans for local folks here, works with a lot of the coaches and players in the area. He's the guy. 813-294-7595, or go to scott@amstampa.com. Have any old coins sitting around the house? Well, the Golden Diamond Source will purchase a variety of different types of coins and bullion. Their gold buying program includes sterling silver, silver, platinum, and watches. They also accept unusual pieces that other jewelry stores do not, such as gold bars and sterling silver flatware. The list of items they do accept is far more extensive than those they don't, so check it out. While you're there, you can check out the largest collection of any family-owned jewelry store in the country, especially with summer coming to an end. The holidays are right around the corner. Never too early to start your holiday shopping, especially if you're planning on getting engaged or have any birthdays or anniversaries coming up. Come on in and find out what buying jewelry should be like with an expert staff of gold and diamond jewelry enthusiasts. And the best part, they treat you like family. And if you're worrying about price, don't. The Golden Diamond Source has something for everyone's budget. They even have a layaway. If you stop in and get your favorite piece now, you can have it paid off by Christmas. Plus, you can even finance your purchase with 0% interest for up to 5 years, and you can get a $5,000 diamond for only $83 a month. It's the greatest folks in the world, Julie and Steve Weintraub, the Golden Diamond Source, 3800 Olmerton Road, always online at thegoldendiamondsource.com.
JP here for my good friends at Italiano Insurance, and they did it again. Once again, Italiano Insurance stepping up with the best customer service. I was in a bind. My old insurance company, my auto insurance, jacked up my rates, so I called Charity at Italiano Insurance, and she stayed till 9:30 at night until she got my insurance done. And guess what? She searched all these companies for me. I didn't do the work. She did. Saved me $1,000 on my annual premium. $1,000, folks. That's real money. And that's what you get at Italiano Insurance. Great customer service. And here's another note for you, by the way, with hurricane season up. 40% of people in Florida are underinsured. That means if you have something happen during a hurricane and you need replacement cost, you're going to get 40% less than you deserve. Can't let that happen. Call the folks at Italiano Insurance and get them to help you out in both those regards. They will save you money and keep you insured properly. That's 813-877-7799. Great folks in the community, been doing it for over 60 years. Italiano Insurance, 813-877-7799.
Pure sports. JP is back on.
Welcome back.
FanStream Sports.
All right, well, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show as we roll on here on a Tuesday opening night for the Tampa Bay Lightning. I cannot wait to get in the building. I can't wait to get outside the building. Big Boy's going to be doing a concert at 3 o'clock. Let's bring in our good friend Kasey Hudson, who covers the Lightning for the Believe Network, doing all kinds of Lightning stuff. What's up, Kasey? How are you? Ready for tonight? Should be fun.
Hi, JP. Long time. Yeah, I'm ready to see you on the big screen, and I'm ready for these guys to kick off the season on a good note.
Are you a Big Boy fan? Outcast fan?
Nah, you know me. I'm a classic rock girl. I know a song or two, but in my spare time, there you go.
It's gonna be fun tonight. I can't wait. And of course, the blue carpet walk with all the guys coming in their custom made suits. I mean, this has become a thing now, right? Like we have to see what they're wearing, who they're wearing, what they're wearing, right?
Yeah, fashion's now becoming a thing in hockey. I mean, we know that the hockey guys have always dressed very well. They're up there with the soccer, guys, but having the red carpet or the blue carpet in our case is just like it incorporates fans that much more. And we haven't been able to do it in a couple of years. Like now we're going to have the real full swing season. That's what I'm most psyched about. Yeah,
and what's different for the Lightning this year, obviously, is they've had a full off season, which is something they haven't had in about 5 years, which I think is really going to give this team some jump. I think we saw it in the preseason. They were just a little bit more energetic than maybe some other teams were. And I like that. I think emotionally they're ready. And that's the biggest thing, right? Well, the season is a grind. And these guys, I think, embrace the off season. I like where they're at right now. You've been around the team for the last few days. What kind of sense do you get where their head's at?
Yeah, it's kind of been a resounding feedback since the guys reported for training camp. The energy is there, the excitement is there, the hunger is there, and the new guys are gelling in so well. It's just like everyone was on the same page to have this eagerness to get the season going. So that's what you're feeling. You're feeling the eagerness to get this going. We also heard some comments throughout the past few weeks of guys just being like, we're being counted out early. We know the Canadian market's already saying, like, we're not a playoff team, and they're having this chip on the shoulder, a chip that's very familiar to, 2, 3, 4 years ago. So that's what's got me most excited about it. You're seeing hunger. You're seeing that these guys are rested up. You're seeing that they feel very comfortable and confident amongst each other already. And I think it's because of the core that's intact. These guys, like Connor Sherry was saying, it's going to be nice to not be playing against them for once because they were difficult. Like playing against a Braden Point is a pain. Playing against certain guys is a pain. So there's also that level of excitement playing against guys or now playing with guys that used to be an irritation to play against.
Let's talk about, before we talk about some of the new guys, let's talk about some of the old guys in new roles. And I think Anthony Cirelli would fit that bill. He's going to take a Killorn's spot on the power play. And I think we'll, probably – his offensive numbers hopefully will be up and maybe get a little bit more national recognition that I think he deserves. Obviously, he's been recognized as a great two-way forward, but I think this could be a real breakout year for him. What are your thoughts on Cirelli?
Oh, I couldn't agree more because I think we also forget maybe just with how the season ended last year that we didn't have Cirelli back until December. But the way that he was playing and the direction he was heading in before he had to have that off time, Cirelli was scoring. Cirelli was creating scoring chances. He was helping jump on the rush because of the defensive element to his game. So I think if he picks up where he was starting to kind of trend, that we're going to see great things out of him. He's obviously going to have a larger role as well without Killorn being in there. And you're seeing more of a leadership mentality to him. A lot of us tried to talk to him in the locker room yesterday, and everyone just wanted to know where's Cirelli's head's at. But what I love too is like, the pairing, it was always Sorelli and Killorn and the way they fed off of each other. You're seeing that exact dynamic and chemistry between him and Hagel. So him having that confidence that he has somebody to rely on next to him, I think it's just going to allow him to open up his game that much more and not always be so focused on the forechecking, as important as it is, but to be able to put some pucks in the net for this team.
And let's talk about the goalie situation with Johan Johansson, who's played really, really well in this preseason. You know, I thought Julian would go get a guy with experience. Someone would hit the waiver wire, and a couple guys did that they could have gone and gotten maybe and made some moves, but having $2 available in the salary cap will hurt you there. But they still could have made some moves and made it happen. But they have confidence in these two guys. Talk about the goaltending pairing.
Yeah, they were saying that they saw a lot more composure and calmness out of these guys than they initially anticipated. Coach Cooper was saying that for the most part, all they could see was just film on these guys. I think the big surprise now is that Johansson is a big guy. So he almost has a similar frame to him like Vasilevsky, where he takes up a lot of space. And he just needed his chance in the NHL. So this could be a sweet surprise for the team. And it would benefit this team a lot too, because if he can be a quality backup, he's going to alleviate the workload of a Vasilevsky so that Vasi's not the top goalie in the league facing shots and his workload isn't, super high come the second half of the season. He can get those proper rest days and be able to go, into playoffs and be fully healthy and fully mentally prepared. But Coach Cooper was just saying that the guys already feel confident with Johansson behind him. He showed that in preseason. He's had shutouts. He faced a high shot volume and managed extremely well. And we're talking about weathering the storm against some of Carolina Hurricanes' top guys, some of the Predators' top guys, as well as, what was the other team? Florida Panthers. The shots that he took on from the Florida Panthers when they played in Orlando, Florida, that's where I really saw that he's a guy that's capable of weathering the storm that's going to be the new season.
And you talk a little bit, I know you're not a doctor, but Vasi surgery, I've talked to a few people in the business, and this, when you're an elite athlete, if it was me, they'd have some concerns. But an elite athlete like Vasi, he should be able to recover from this just fine. I don't think it's going to affect him too much long term, maybe when he gets to be 36, 37, 38. But just in the immediate next few years, I don't think it's really going to be an issue. Have you sensed that same feeling from the coaching staff and Brisebois that they should get a fully healthy and rested, by the way, Vasilevsky back in December sometime?
Yeah, absolutely. I think a big reason that I started to feel their sense of comfort with this situation and how Vasi will bounce back is the fact that they didn't try to move mountains to bring in a goalie. Right. The fact that they wanted to see what was going to happen with Johansson and Tompkins first, because it's going to put them in a tough position if they have to try to figure out and finesse that cap space. So I think that kind of spoke to the confidence of his ability to bounce back. And again, if they just change up his workload a little bit. I mean, he faces the most shots. He's one of the starting goalies that plays the most games in the league. Like, if they can just dial that back a notch, they're going to be able to preserve his body that much more. Surgery has come so much further. The ability to bounce back has come so much further. And to think about what hockey players play through, just normal, I think that his ability to bounce back from surgery should be just fine.
What are your thoughts on some of the other guys that are kind of in new spots? Braden Point obviously had a breakout year with 51 points last year, but there's going to be a little bit of change the way they play defense. Talk about the core and maybe some guys in different places this year.
I love kind of where some of the guys are going to end up, and I love the two-way play or the two-way theme to the new guys that they brought in. My theory is that having guys that are going to be able to manage that two-way ability, you're going to alleviate your skilled players to focus on the execution. When we played against the Maple Leafs in playoffs, we weren't getting those lucky bounces, but a lot of that's the fact that you have your skilled players playing, up and down the rink, 200 foot of hockey versus like leaving them in position to just execute and get it done. So I like the fact that, you've got Luke Glendening and you've got Tyler Mott. I think he's going to be tremendous. Yeah. Mikey Acemont, he's a big hitter, 107 hits last season. So you've got guys who are fast and physical that are going to alleviate a Braden Point to score, a Nikita Kucherov to score, and we'll see what other guys shine through. Connor Sherry has a ridiculous shot percentage. He shoots a lot. Tyler Mott's another person. He shoots a lot. So they're going to be getting pucks forward at a higher, more rapid percentage as long as everything is gelling and the chemistry tends to come about. So you've got more than just 2 or 3 strong two-way players on your roster. You've got 4. And those bottom 6 guys, those last 2 lines, they got a little younger, they got a little faster, and hopefully that means they're going to contribute because last season this team hit a few stalemates because if it wasn't your top guys scoring, nobody was really getting on the board, and it was very hard to tilt the ice. You've got 3 quality guys in the bottom 6 that I feel confident can score. I'm very excited about Mikey Esimont this season. He's so keen on trying to get creative shots in, and sometimes hockey is puck luck. And when you want to be creative, you're going to have more puck luck. So I like the new additions a lot. I think we're getting severely underestimated. I think that 4th line is going to be a big surprise. They're not going to be this slow school bus line. I don't think you can ever call them that. Yeah. So it's going to be different. It's going to be way different. I could geek out on it all day.
Yeah, I know. I mean, we miss Maroon and we miss, some of the older guys, but it's a young man's game. They're faster. They're going to be harder. I think they're going to be harder to play against because they're faster and there's more pressure coming forward. I just like the new energy that these guys are going to bring and want to bring to it. Austin Watson's going to, beat the hell out of people, which is good. They're going to be harder to play. They're going to be harder to play against, even though Patty did that too. They're going to be harder to play against. And this kid, Marilla, from Finland is, I think he's been a really, really pleasant surprise. I think his skill set and the fact I love his pedigree that he's won 2 titles a row in their professional league. He's played on their national team. This guy's a winner, and I love that about him too.
Oh, it's very sweet, very humble, and I think something that we're going to see more of in the next coming weeks is his hockey IQ. He had a moment in preseason that just really stood out to me. It was actually his assist on Austin Watson's goal versus the Nashville Predators on Hispanic Heritage Night. And it was just the fact of how quickly he calculated the drawback to create the passing lane to set up Austin Watson. So, you're seeing somebody who's going to, again, help create passing lanes, help set up the guys that can execute and polish things off. And he can score when he needs to. I mean, his scoring numbers in the Finland League was tremendous. So there's that. He's not afraid of the physicality. Somebody tried to body him up a few times. I want to say it was Luke Shin, and he managed it so well. It's almost like he toyed with him. So I feel like we're just starting to see what could be of this guy. Not to mention is that the rink is different there. There's so many things that are different in the European Hockey League that the biggest thing for him is just getting acclimated. He was saying that he's not the fastest guy, but he has to change his burst because these rinks are smaller than what he's used to. Yeah. Once that acclimation takes place and that hockey IQ can go off the charts, you're looking at somebody that contribute in a number of ways.
It's going to be fun, Kasey. I know you'll be there tonight as will I. Looking forward to it. And it's opening night. It's going to be 20,000. There'll be lots of fun surprises. We got a new sound system, all kinds of new stuff. So looking forward to seeing you there.
Can't wait to see you later, JP.
Well, tell everybody about your content, where they can find you.
You can find me over at Believe Network. Now we've got Casing the League kind of running through the channels of Stadium TV and Fubu TV. And that's me taking more of a scope of the NHL, but I love it because it helps me prepare for what games and teams the Lightning are playing that much more. Of course, we have the best bet aspect of it, which has become a lot of fun because I get to dive into the numbers that much more. So over at Believe Network, I have a show called Casing the League. You can always find me on BetQL, being their hockey person with the best bets for all things hockey, and then helping out with the Lightning through Odyssey Sports.
Got any good bets for tonight? Want to give us some winners?
Tonight I have Nikita Kucherov recording 2+ points. Last time the last 3 times he's faced the Nashville Predators, he's recorded 6 shots on goal and 2 points.
Okay.
And then I think Brandon Hagel is going to let people know that he's here to build off of last season. So I'm taking him for at least an assist.
All right, that sounds good. I'm going to bet on that tonight. I like wagering on the Lightning.
I'll take it.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it.
Thanks, Kasey. Appreciate it. We'll see you at the rink. All right.
See.
Great, Kasey Hudson, right there. All right, let's take one more break, and then we'll finish things up here, Timmy.
All right.
I want to hit you with some college football stuff when we come back. Texas, we thought they were the best team in the nation, and they're not. Is it Oklahoma? Who is it? I have no idea. Maybe it's Florida State. No, definitely not. We'll talk some college football when we come back. We're brought to you by The Patio. We'll be there from 5 to 7 on Monday night. We gave away 2 tickets to the Lightning game last night, so come on by next week. We may give away a couple more tickets. We'll see what happens. Always a great place to watch all the games at The Patio, 421 South McDill, about 3-4 blocks south of Kennedy. Underneath the palm trees, underneath the stars, come watch the Lightning game tonight. If you don't have a ticket, you can watch it there. And all week long watching football. Great place to watch it is The Patio. Great happy hour from 3 to 7:30 each and every day. $1 off beer and wine. And, of course, we're presented by White Claw when we are there. $4 White Claw, seltzers, $4 White Claw vodkas. Great place. It's the patio where everybody meets. Back in 3, we'll wrap it up. Stay with us.
Well, Fitz the mortgage guy did it again. A listener heard his ad, was going to another big bank, but called Scott Fitzgerald at American Mortgage Services of Tampa, and Fitz saved him $618 on his monthly payment. Are you kidding me? Folks, that's big money. Rates are going up, they're going down, they're going all over the place. Scott will shop your loan and save you lender fees and get the best rates. Email him, scott@amstampa.com, or call 813-294-7595. That's Fitz the mortgage guy. Lots of stuff going on right now, and these rates are going all over the place. You need somebody knowledgeable in the market that will work hard for you and get you the best deal. That's my man, Scott. He's done 3 loans for me, done thousands of loans for local folks here, works with a lot of the coaches and players in the area. He's the guy. 813-294-7595, or go to scott@amstampa.com. Have any old coins sitting around the house? Well, the Gold and Diamond Source will purchase a variety of different types of coins and bullion. Their gold buying program includes sterling silver, silver, platinum, and watches. They also accept unusual pieces that other jewelry stores do not, such as gold bars and sterling silver flatware. The list of items they do accept is far more extensive than those they don't, so check it out. While you're there, you can check out the largest collection of any family-owned jewelry store in the country, especially with summer coming to an end. The holidays are right around the corner. Never too early to start your holiday shopping, especially if you're planning on getting engaged or have any birthdays or anniversaries coming up. Come on in and find out what buying jewelry should be like with an expert staff of gold and diamond jewelry enthusiasts. And the best part, they treat you like family. And if you're worrying about price, don't. The Gold and Diamond Source has something for everyone's budget. They even have a layaway. If you stop in and get your favorite piece now, you can have it paid off by Christmas. Plus, you can even finance your purchase with 0% interest for up to 5 years, and you can get a $5,000 diamond for only $83 a month. It's the greatest folks in the world, Julie and Steve Weintraub, the Gold and Diamond Source, 3800 Olmerton Road, always online at thegoldendiamondsource.com.
JP here for my good friends at Italiano Insurance, and they did it again. Once again, Italiano Insurance stepping up with the best customer service. I was in a bind. My old insurance company, my auto insurance, jacked up my rates, so I called Charity at Italiano Insurance, and she stayed till 9:30 at night until she got my insurance done. And guess what? She searched all these companies for me. I didn't do the work. She did. Saved me $1,000 on my annual premium. $1,000, folks. That's real money. And that's what you get at Italiano Insurance. Great customer service. And here's another note for you, by the way, with hurricane season up. 40% of people in Florida are underinsured. That means if you have something happen during a hurricane and you need replacement costs, you're going to get 40% less than you deserve. Can't let that happen. Call the folks at Italiano Insurance and get them to help you out in both those regards. It will save you money and keep you insured properly. That's 813-877-7799. Great folks in the community, been doing it for over 60 years. Italiano Insurance, 813-877-7799.
Pure sports. JP is back on.
Welcome back.
FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back on this Tuesday opening night for the Lightning. If you haven't got your tickets, you can go on ticketsmarter.com, put in FanStream 10 or FanStream 20. If you're spending over $300 to FanStream 20, get $20 off. Otherwise, use FanStream 10 at ticketsmarter.com. We will have a packed house for tonight, but $50 to get into the opener is not that bad. So
it's not bad at all, man.
It'll be quite a show tonight. They have a lot of stuff planned. So get in your seats early. 5:30 puck drop. But get there for the big boy concert, 3:00. All stuff going to be going on out on the on Thunder Alley and around all around. They have different places now all around the stadium. You can go hang out. There's a little Publix area. They built a little outdoor space on one side of the arena. So great place to hang out, even if you aren't going to the game. And they'll be showing the game on Thunder Alley. So if you can't get a ticket, you just set up your chair out there on Thunder Alley. You can watch it on the side of the garage, which is always a cool place. It's like being in there without paying $50 to get in. So should be fun tonight. Tampa Bay Lightning and your Nashville Predators coming to town. And if Kucherov gets 2 points, which I think he will, you can make some money. All right, so I'm sure you watched the Texas-Oklahoma game, Timmy.
I was there in the 100-year-old press box of the Cotton Bowl.
Oh, were you now? What was that atmosphere like, man?
You know, that's a weird guy. Look, I'm not a Longhorns fan. I'm not an OU fan at all. You know, I was there as a journalist, and it's always a weird vibe there. This would be the third year in a row that I've gone, and it's all the energy in the entire stadium comes from the Oklahoma crowd. It's really weird.
Really?
Even when Texas is ahead, all of the energy when Oklahoma has the ball comes from the Oklahoma crowd. Texas scores a touchdown, silence.
Really?
Like, I don't get it. I don't get it, man. Like, a couple of years ago when the Longhorns went way up at halftime, you wouldn't know it, man. Longhorns fans were just like, all right, well, we're supposed to win, so this is great. And every time Oklahoma had the ball, you couldn't hear anything.
Really?
And it's that it is so weird. I don't understand it. You know, I've been to Longhorns games when they played A&M down at Darrell Royal Stadium in Austin. And it's the same type of thing, man. I just don't know what to think of the Longhorns fan base.
For school?
I think so.
It's kind of that, like, it's, you know, I mean, because it's kind of a very liberalist, liberal arts school.
Very.
Kind of very different than most Texas areas, I would say. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, and they're just like, well, we're supposed to win. Like, of course we're winning, or we're supposed. And if they're not winning, they're just not paying attention. It's really weird, man. It is a weird vibe,
aren't they?
Yes. All the energy in that game and in that stadium comes from the Oklahoma crowd every year. It's
That's
great.
Just not
it's
you
great,
being an A&M fan now. That's just real deal. Okay.
No, because I'm not a fan of the Longhorns either, or Oklahoma. I'm just saying it's a you can tell, you know, and again, it's a unique situation because of the way the stadium is split 50-50. You've got the crimson and cream over here, then you've got the burnt orange over here. And, you know, whatever side of the stadium they're on, they were talking on the broadcast I heard about how noisy it was. I didn't hear it in the stadium. That's for sure.
It didn't feel like it was really loud. It sounded like it was loud coming through the TV.
Did it? Because, you know, we're glassed in there. They don't have, again, the stadium was built in 1937. I think the last time the press box was renovated was in the 1950s. Other than like data wires and cables and stuff, you know, maybe they changed out the laminate on the little 12-inch counter that we have there to work with. But
I did a game there. I did a FSU game there in 1991. They went to the Cotton Bowl, played A&M. I think, didn't A&M win 10-9?
Probably.
Yeah, it was just a bitterly cold day, dreary day. New Year's, I'm like, what the F am I doing?
New Year's in Dallas. Yeah.
It's just it was off. It didn't. I was like, wow, we're going to the Cotton Bowl. This is really cool. And then you get there and it's this shit stadium. The press box was awful, and they still haven't done anything with it.
No, it's, you know, they've upgraded the turf, obviously. You know, now it's grass, and, you know, and I don't want to knock it, man. It's all these old stadiums, you know, these old college bowl games, you know, that's what they are, right? They're old and they're historical, and I get it. You know, before they built Jerry World, they talked about doming the Cotton Bowl and moving the Cowboys back there, which of course that was the Cowboys' original home when they were founded in 1960 before they moved to Texas Stadium in 1971. And then the SMU Mustangs have played there, you know, and it's just,
is there?
And I don't know, it's just
currently playing there at all?
No,
just they've all got their on-campus there.
Yeah, SMU built a new campus, Gerald J. Ford Stadium, up on campus. It replaced Ownby Stadium up there several years ago, and it's a great little facility for for SMU now in the ACC. But it's, I don't know, man. The Cotton Bowl, just growing up around it and being around it for so long and seeing A&M play there so many times. SMU and A&M used to play there every year, and they moved to Texas Stadium, and it's, I don't know, man. It's just dirty.
It's worn out its welcome. Yeah.
Probably like the Gator Bowl was back in the day, you know, just like, ugh.
Yeah. It's like the Citrus Bowl in Orlando. It's just,
right.
You know, it's Camping World Stadium now. It's just, it's trash. And they don't have the modern amenities. And then when people are trying to get into, like when FSU played there, everybody was bitching. They ran out of water. They ran out of beer. It's like not enough concession stands. They just don't know how, they can't handle these large crowds anymore. So, you know.
Well, and I got spoiled at Jerry World at AT&T Stadium because the press box there, it's like
gorgeous.
You're in a luxury suite. There's a carving station over here. There's prime rib.
There's like Raymond James. Yeah.
People serving you drinks, so you just order what you want and they'll bring it to you. They're luxury office chairs that you sit in that recline, and the desk is 40 inches deep. The windows open into the stadium, and you get spoiled there.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Well, it's, you know, modern amenities is what
I guess so.
You know, these old stadiums, some have character and they're great, and then some are just shit boxes that need to be replaced.
Right,
so
right.
I think we'll put the Cotton Bowl in there. But it looked really cool.
on TV. It looked like a great atmosphere. But Texas is. I think Oklahoma's pretty good. I think Texas is pretty good. I think both of those teams are probably still upper echelon teams. But I don't think. Sure. I think there's so much parity there this year. I think you've got probably. I mean, how often have you said 8 to 10 teams that could win the national championship halfway through the season?
Not been a long time, yeah.
Yeah, and it's I'm super critical of FSU, in terms of their defense. But hey, you know what? They could beat anybody in the nation right now. They could beat Georgia. They could beat Alabama. They could beat Texas. They could beat anybody, and then any of those teams could beat them too. Sure. So it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun to see how this plays out.
I was more impressed, I think, coming out of that game with Dylan Gabriel. I haven't watched a lot of OU football, but man, that dude impressed me. I had no idea he was that good.
He's super clutch. That touchdown pass to win the game was just absolutely tremendous.
And that's what we heard about Quinn Ewers the whole time when he was at Ohio State. Who's going to get him? But man, I was impressed with Quinn Ewers the first game that he played, and maybe in that game against Alabama last year that they ended up losing that should have won. Yeah. I thought, man, he's pretty good, but I know he suffered through some injuries, and I don't know what to think of him. I don't even know if he's NFL quality now.
Yeah, I don't know, and we need to see more. But that was his moment to shine, and not that he played terrible, but Gabriel certainly outplayed him, no question about it. He was really, really good.
Those are the games that those guys are going to be judged on, by scouts and by whoever. The big games, and if you can't deliver, then you're not going to deliver on Sundays.
I totally agree. It exposes all of your flaws and accentuates who you are in the big moments, and that's what quarterbacking is so much about.
Yeah.
All right, my man. Great job. Appreciate you. Thank you to Kasey Hudson, Scott Reynolds, TJ Reeves, as I try not to sneeze before I get off here. We'll be back tomorrow, same time, 10 to 12, with a full recap of all the festivities from Amalie Arena tonight. Have a great day, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow.